Chapter 997. The meal lasted for half an hour, and they even drank a little wine in the middle. Lu Jing was also very happy. If her daughter-in-law was here, it would be even more perfect. In the afternoon, Yi Hua lay in his room and slept. He was thinking about what to do at night. How should I play to be cool? It's a pity that there's no one to play with me. While thinking, Yi Hua actually fell asleep, and it was a very dead kind of sleep. Not knowing how long had passed, a hurried knocking sound rang out from outside the door. Big brother. Big brother. Are you there? This was the sound of Yi Yuanqing knocking on the door. Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, squinted his eyes and saw that the day outside had already turned into night. I'm here. Yi Hua replied. Big brother, we are going to set off. All right. Yi Hua sat up. He was still wearing a black robe, there was no change to it. When I was on Earth, I liked to wear black suits, and when I was here, I liked to wear black robes, which made me look reserved and calm. Yi Hua opened the door and saw Yi Yuanqing, who was dressed like a girl. I haven't dressed like this for a long time, I'm not used to it. Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice. It's good. Yi Hua said faintly. To be able to receive the approval of me is also a kind of blessing. As expected, after hearing Big Brother's approval, Yi Yuanqing didn't feel that awkward anymore. Big brother, I heard from third and fourth brother that you beat up father, is this true? Yi Yuanqing found it hard to believe. When did Big Brother become so awesome, to even beat up father? It's true. Yi Hua said indifferently, as if he did something insignificant. Originally, Yi Hua thought that Yi Yuanqing would speak up for Yi Shan, but who knew that Yi Yuanqing would actually give him a thumbs up. This little sister has quite a personality, I like her a little. Don't misunderstand, this kind of liking is different from that kind of liking. Big brother, you are very handsome today. I know. Yi Yuanqing lowered her head and smiled lightly. Big brother is still so frank, he doesn't know how to compliment me at all. As the little sister, Yi Yuanqing walked behind Yi Hua. In actuality, Yi Yuanqing is also a general now, so it is normal for her to walk side by side with him. However, Yi Yuanqing felt that she didn't surpass Big Brother at all, so she couldn't walk side by side with Big Brother yet. Yi Hua didn't really care about these etiquettes, after all, the number of people who are able to walk at the same pace as me are too few. In the entire Yi clan, only Yi Shan and Yi Yuanqing were officials. Even Yi Chen did not have an official position. This was also the emperor's intention. He did not want too many people in the Yi clan to interfere in politics. After all, Yi family had Yi Hua. Yi Shan felt that everything that happened was all Yi Hua's fault, and if it wasn't for Yi Hua, Yi family would have long reached the top. Would he still end up in a second-rate family? Being laughed at by others. The carriage was already parked outside. The one sitting in the front was Yi Shan's. As a junior, he could only sit in the back. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing directly sat on the carriage at the back, and the carriage headed towards the imperial palace. In the carriage, Yi Yuanqing didn't know what to say when he saw how calm his elder brother was. Comfort Big Brother? It seemed that Big Brother didn't need to be comforted at all. If he encountered such a thing, he would definitely be anxious. Even if he didn't show it, he would feel anxious in his heart. However, he felt that his big brother didn't take it to heart at all. He really didn't know how his big brother managed to cultivate such a state of mind. Yi family wasn't very far away from the imperial palace, and sitting in a carriage was also a kind of status symbol. No matter what, it was still Yi family. If they were to walk, wouldn't it be very degrading? The three arrived at the entrance of the imperial palace and got off the carriage. When Yi Hua got off the carriage, everyone in the surroundings went into a daze. This is the legendary Yi Hua. Prince Yi. The only prince with an outsider surname. We pay our respects to Prince Yi. The imperial guards in the surroundings all shouted out in a low voice, and their voices were definitely able to be transmitted into the imperial palace. Yi Hua said faintly, "Get up." Everyone felt an imposing aura coming from Yi Hua. Those 3 words were said too easily, too naturally, as if he had already been a prince for many years. Yi Shan stood at the side and didn't say anything. It would be a lie if he didn't feel angry in his heart. Being beaten up by his son was truly a type of grievance. This was also the first time he was beaten up by his son, and it was the kind where he didn't even have the strength to fight back. Yi Yuanqing felt that the distance between him and his big brother had become a bit further. I thought that after 1,000 years, the distance between me and big brother should have become closer, but it turns out that it didn't. The people who were queuing at the back also looked at Yi Hua with astonishment in their eyes. It's really him. He came back. He is even more domineering than before. It used to be General Yi, but now it's Prince Yi. Greetings, General Yi, the guard greeted Yi Yuanqing respectfully. If Yi Hua was not here, Yi Shan would feel very proud. Everyone felt that the Yi family was going to rise again. The combination of the prince and the general would probably return to the situation in the past. Was the Yi family going to be the dominant family again? Was the lesson from back then not deep enough? Yi Hua directly walked towards the palace, and Yi Yuanqing followed behind him. On the other hand, how could Yi Shan follow behind his son? So, as a father, he would go in after they left. Yi Hua looked at the enormous imperial palace. Compared to my Wushu Empire, this place is slightly inferior. This place is filled with a sense of age. Yi Hua's imperial palace was considered to be too new. Yi Hua's imperial palace was too new. Big brother, how do you feel? Yi Yuanqing asked curiously. Yi Hua said faintly, not bad. Prince Yi, long time no see. Prime Minister Shan Junren greeted with a smile on his face. Yi Yuanqing still wanted to attack and shouted, Prime Minister. Yuanqing, long time no see. You are getting more and more beautiful. Did you find a good family? Prime Minister Shan asked curiously. Yi Yuanqing smiled amiably, there is no hurry now, let's talk about it in the future. Yuanqing, marriage has always been decided by parents, you have to think more about it. Prime Minister Shan said with a teasing tone. Prime Minister is right. Prince Yi, let's go in. You are the main character today, without you, there would be less joy. Yi Hua said lightly, if I am not here, you all should be even happier. Huh, Prince Yi sure knows how to joke. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing at the side, felt that big brother had become more tactful. Not only Yi Yuanqing thought so, Shan Junren also felt that this Yi Hua is much better at using his brain than before. In the past, Yi Hua was a one-track-minded person, but now, he is actually so experienced. It seems like during these few years, this fellow has never given up and is constantly training his brain. On this point, Shan Junren guessed correctly. Yi Hua trained his brain by watching Calabash brothers saving his grandfather. Just when the 3 of them walked to the main hall of the imperial palace, a few figures attracted Yi Hua's gaze. Chapter 998. Huang Yun was slightly in front, Qian Yi was on his left, and Qian Yuqing was on his right. Today, Qian Yuqing looked extremely beautiful. This kind of beauty was almost the same as Qingye and the others. They were dressed in festive red robes that were embroidered with exquisite patterns. They matched Huang Yun's robes very well. The 2 of them were dressed in such a way, and their intentions were very clear. Only an unmarried couple would dress like this. Huang Yun was in an exceptionally good mood today. The woman in his heart was finally his. So what if the Yi Hua came back? His father wanted him dead. He had to die. As for Qian Yuqing, she could marry him with just a word from his father. No matter how awesome you, Yi Hua, are, the only thing you lack is a father with monstrous power. And I, Huang Yun, only have this old man. You can have him for the rest of your life. Of course, Qian Yuqing also saw Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing slightly lowered her head, seemingly like she didn't dare to make eye contact with Yi Hua, just like a child who did something wrong. However, in his heart, he was thinking, since Yi Hua wants to protect me, then I can't let Yi Hua worry about me. Furthermore, Yi Hua definitely has a way to free me from this kind of restriction. I just have to obediently listen to Yihua's words, and it will be fine as long as I don't disrupt Yihua's plans. Yi Yuanqing looked at Huang Yun and his sister-in-law. His gaze was a little shocked. Sister-in-law's appearance. Why did he look so guilty towards his big brother? What was going on? Could it be that sister-in-law was willing to marry Huang Yun? This was impossible. Sister-in-law wasn't that kind of person. Huang Yun and Qian Yi were both sizing up Yihua. Huang Yun appeared to be very calm. Right now, your woman is by my side, what else can you do? If you have the ability, come and snatch it. As long as you dare to. Even if your crime is confirmed, Imperial Father will have 10,000 reasons to execute you. Qian Yi's gaze was different. After all, he was her son-in-law in the past and they often met. At that time, their relationship was quite good. However, the current Yihua made Qian Yi feel that he was very different from the past. Although Yihua's expression is still the same, I feel that compared to the Yihua in the past, this Yihua will be a bit more decisive. In the past, Yihua was a bit sloppy, and this was also his biggest flaw. Right now, Yihua was also looking at the three people, but what Yihua was looking at wasn't Huang Yun. Not Qian Yuqing either. It was Qian Yi. Yihua felt that it was funny in his heart. To think that enemies would actually meet under this kind of environment. This man's ear was chopped off by me in the past. I didn't expect to meet him here. This can also be considered as the first enemy to appear. Should I kill him directly? Lord Yi. Huang Yun greeted with a smile and even bowed. In terms of seniority and position, it was normal for Huang Yun to bow. Yihua looked at this Huang Yun in front of him and felt that this Huang Yun was a worthy opponent. Huang Yun's relationship with Yihua was so stiff, and yet, he was still able to come over and greet Yihua. There are quite a few people like this in the world, and only opponents like this would be interesting. I wonder who is stronger, you or your father? So, it's the 9th prince. Yihua said indifferently. Huang Yun's current state of mind was extremely good. He began introducing Qian Yuqing to Yihua. Prince Yi, this is Qian Yuqing, she is my fiancée. We are going to get married in a few days. Yuqing, hurry up and greet her. Qian Yuqing shook her lips and slightly leaned forward. Prince Yi. Huang Yun didn't know why, but when he heard Qian Yuqing calling Yihua Prince Yi, he felt especially comfortable in his heart, indescribably comfortable, as if he had won against Yihua. Furthermore, he won it from a woman. Snatching money, snatching equipment, there is nothing better than snatching women. This kind of feeling is incomparable. Yihua looked at Qian Yuqing coldly. This gaze caused Huang Yun to feel even more comfortable. No matter how awesome you are, isn't your woman still going to sleep with me? Ha 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 ha. Prince Yi, this is Lord Qian, Yuqing's father. Huang Yun continued introducing. However, this introduction made Yihua a bit surprised. I thought that Qian Yuqing was just an outsider. I really didn't expect that he would be my enemy. He is actually Qian Yuqing's father. This is getting interesting. Prince Yi. Prime Minister Shan Junren could be seen walking over with an amiable smile, and behind him was a young man. This young man was Shan Junren's youngest son, Shan Yu. Shan Yu had a dignified appearance, his eyes were as bright as silver stars, and his body was tall and straight. A man like this should be someone who fought on the battlefield, but looking at Shan Yu's official uniform, he seems to be a civil official. Seems like he is walking on the same path as his father. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing whispered into Yihua's ear, Big brother, this is the Prime Minister, Shan Junren, and beside him is his son, Shan Yu. A trace of an arc suddenly appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. Prime Minister Shan, it has been many years since we last met, but you are still the same as before. The attitude that Yihua suddenly displayed caused everyone to become speechless. This Mother ** King drift was too fast, to the point where no one was able to react to it at all. A second ago, it was as if he was looking at everyone as his enemy, and in the next second, he was actually smiling. *CK me. The speed at which his face changed was simply too fast. Furthermore, he was even smiling towards Prime Minister Shan Junren. One must know that in the past, Yi Hua was a general, and Prime Minister Shan Junren didn't get along very well. The opinions of the civil and military officials must be quite different, which was why there was a dispute. In any case, the relationship between the two of them was not good in the past. But now, it was as if he had met an old friend. Right now, Shan Junren was a bit stupefied. Just what is this Yi Hua trying to do? He actually smiled at me? There was a deep meaning to it. Moreover, Qian Yuqing was about to become someone else's wife, yet he could still smile. Was he pretending? Or was he acting? After all, the emperor's intention was for Yi Hua to go and kidnap the bride, then find an excuse to kill him. According to Yi Hua's character, he would definitely go and kidnap the bride, but what about now? Shan Junren couldn't hold it in anymore. I have never seen Yi Hua smile before, and furthermore, he smiled so happily. Shan Yu, who was at the back, naturally recognized Yi Hua. Towards Yi Hua, who was acting like this, Shan Yu was very puzzled. I feel more comfortable looking at Yi Hua with a straight face. Yi Hua merely laughed lightly, then retracted his smile. This was the normal expression that Yi Hua had on his face. As for the other expressions, they were all abnormal. Even Qingye and Donghuang Baiji felt that Yi Hua, who was acting coquettishly, was just like a lunatic. Prince Yi, this old man is already someone who has one foot in the coffin, unlike you youngsters. In the future, Lingdu still needs fresh blood like you guys. Shan Junren sorted out his emotions and said with a slight smile. In actuality, Shan Junren was saying those words for Huang Yun to hear. If nothing goes wrong, you will be the emperor of the entire deity's kingdom in the future. Huang Yun naturally understood what Shan Junren meant. After Father Emperor abdicates, this throne will belong to me. At this moment, Qian Yi said with a smile, what Prime Minister Shan said is right, this world belongs to the youngsters. Lord Qian, I have yet to properly congratulate you. Shan Junren cupped his hands and said with a smile. Chapter 999. This made Qian Yi extremely happy. In the future, the empress would be her own daughter. Of course, the Qian family had to grow. Just by looking at Shan Junren's attitude, one could tell that he was already starting to flatter him. Qian Yi also cupped her hands and smiled, this is all my daughter's good fortune, the heavens are watching over her. Lord Qian, Lord Yi is still standing here. Don't you think your words are a little unpleasant? All of a sudden, a voice rang out as a man walked over. He was wearing the same robe as Huang Yun. This person's appearance was somewhat similar to Huang Yun's, but his appearance was slightly mediocre. However, this was not a problem, because he was the first prince. Imperial calendar. Seeing this person approach, the surrounding people respectfully called out, First Prince. Imperial brother. Huang Yun also had to address him respectfully. Yi Hua did not say anything. However, Huang Li walked in front of Yi Hua and said with a smile, Prince Yi. Yi Hua silently nodded his head. Regarding what Huang Li just said, he felt quite comfortable. Huang Yun was the emperor's most beloved son, so the crown prince would definitely be unhappy. Didn't humans often say that the enemy of an enemy was a friend? Interesting. Lord Qian, you didn't have this attitude back then, Huang Li said in a teasing tone. He was the only one who dared to say such a thing. The others really didn't have the guts. Shan Junren looked at the first prince's attitude and had some suspicions. In the past, the relationship between the first imperial prince and Yi Hua wasn't very good. Right after Yi Hua returned, the first imperial prince's attitude towards Yi Hua changed. Could it be, the eldest prince was the eldest son after all? Enjoy the priority of inheritance. Now that the position of the crown prince had not been decided, it was hard to say who would win or lose. However, it seemed that the ninth prince had a higher chance of winning. As long as there were no mistakes, the ninth prince would definitely be the crown prince, and then it would be confirmed. But now, the first prince's intention seemed to be to rope in Yi Hua. It wasn't that the first prince had never done such a thing in the past, but in the end, he was definitely rejected by Yi Hua. But at that time, Imperial Cloud did not exist at all, and now he had to continue to rope them in. Furthermore, looking at Yi Hua's attitude just now, he doesn't seem to be disgusted at all. Seems like I have to report this matter to the emperor. At this moment, Qian Yi was extremely embarrassed and did not know what to say. Qian Yuqing also felt uncomfortable standing at the side, as if she was a woman who had abandoned her husband and son. Yi Hua, hurry up and think of a way. Yuqing is embarrassed to even stand here. Don't look at Yuqing like that. Yuqing's body and mind are all yours. This life is yours. Brother Emperor, that's where your words are wrong. Is there anything wrong with a girl getting married when she's of age? Huang Yun was definitely going to stand out and speak up right now. He could not afford to lose face here. However, the two princes standing at the palace gate had already attracted some attention. Huang Li chuckled. Ninth brother, this is called snatching my love away from me. This is a decree from my father. Huang Yun said calmly. Oh. In that case, Yuqing, you need to be careful. This is just Imperial Father's decree. As expected of the eldest prince, he wasn't careless when it came to arguing with others. Seeing the slight change in Huang Yun's expression, Huang Li said, Yuqing, you used to follow Lord Yi around a lot. Why have you changed? The moment these words were said, Huang Yun's expression darkened even more. At this moment, Yi Hua said calmly, once a woman has a change of heart, she will fall out with her husband. That's why, acting cool and smacking faces required cooperation. This Huang Li's cooperation was quite good. Yi Yuanqing, who was at the side, didn't know what his big brother meant. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said about her, her heart trembled in pain. She began consoling herself that Yi Hua did this on purpose to protect her. Huang Yun was angry. These two people actually dared to say such things about the woman that I like. How can I tolerate this? Enough. Qian Yuqing is my woman, show some respect. Following Huang Yun's shout, the civil and military officials all looked over. This was the first time that Huang Yun lost his composure. When was it the easiest for a man to lose his composure? It was when it was because of a woman. What is the matter outside? A dignified voice could be heard coming out from within the palace. This caused everyone to tremble. This is the voice of Lingdu's emperor. A eunuch walked forward and shouted, "Enter the palace." Following the eunuch's shout, everyone began entering the palace. Yi Hua looked at the palace of the highest ruler of the gods' realm. Compared to my main body's palace, this palace is just a bit lacking. The one who was sitting on the throne was naturally Huang Feidi. When Huang Feidi saw Yi Hua walking over, Huang Feidi immediately stood up. "Prince Yi, it really is my Prince Yi. Quickly come over and let me take a good look at you." This was also the first time that Yi Hua saw the Emperor of God's realm. The feeling he got was pretty good. At the very least, this Emperor's aura and aura are the best that I have ever seen. Since I am the Yi Hua of the past, I have to play this role well. Yi Hua walked towards the Emperor. As long as I, the Supreme Overlord, wish to, I will be able to twist off the Emperor's head right now. However, if I do that, I will lose a lot of fun. Since he wants to play with his brain, I, the Supreme Overlord, am willing to accompany him. Huang Feidi sized up Yi Hua. If this Yi Hua is a fake, Huang Feidi doesn't really believe it. The feeling that this Yi Hua gives me is exactly the same as the Yi Hua of the past. However, even if that was the case, Huang Feidi would rather that this Yi Hua was a fake. If that was the case, it would just be a false alarm. Huang Feidi could be seen patting onto Yi Hua's shoulders. "Yi Hua, it's good that nothing happened. This is a blessing for spiritual capital. It's a blessing for the people." Yi Hua also put on an act and said, "Thanks to your Majesty's protection, Yi Hua was able to escape death." "Ha ha ha, Yi Hua, let's not talk about other things tonight, let's drink to our heart's content." Yi Hua nodded his head. "You, the Emperor, just want to drink to your heart's content? I don't believe you. You should have already arranged the following programs, right? Indeed, Huang Feidi seemed to be very happy. However, this kind of attitude of his was all an act that he put on for all of the civil and military officials to see. Huang Feidi wanted the officials to spread the news of what happened tonight. Seeing that Yi Hua has returned, I am so happy. Prince Yi, take a seat of honor. Huang Feidi said with a slight smile. Just now, when Yi Hua came into contact with Huang Feidi, he discovered that Yi Hua had changed a bit. However, he was unable to tell what had changed. There were 4 tables below the emperor. On the right side was Yi Hua's, and on the left side was Prime Minister Shan Juanren's. The first one on the left was Huang Li, and the second one was Huang Yun. However, Huang Yun needed Qian Yuqing by his side. Toward such a situation, everyone felt that the atmosphere was filled with awkwardness. This Qian Yuqing used to be Prince Ye's woman, and right now, she is actually married to a junior. Such a scene is truly rarely seen. Furthermore, Yi Hua is even sitting there as if nothing happened. Just how much courage does he have to do that? However, for people like Qian Yi, Yi Yuanqing could only sit at the bottom and not at the top. Chapter 1000. Soon, everyone sat down, and the banquet began. Huang Feidi could be seen holding onto a wine cup and standing up. Today, Prince Yi has survived a great calamity and returned to Lingdu. Let us drink this wine together. Your Majesty is wise. May Prince Yi be healthy. Everyone in the palace drank the wine in one gulp. Everyone knew that tonight wasn't going to be a simple night. After drinking the wine, Huang Feidi sat down with a smile on his face. He looked at Yi Hua, then looked at Qian Yuqing. This was the atmosphere that he wanted, but it was still lacking a bit. He still needed a fire to ignite Yi Hua's anger. Soon, the dancers went on stage. Wasn't this kind of banquet just a bunch of officials eating together? It was very simple. Oh right, what were you all arguing about outside the door just now? Huang Feidi asked faintly. It was hard to tell if he was angry or what, but this question was directed at Huang Li and Huang Yun. Huang Yun knew his father's intention, so he directly said, "Father, my brother thinks that I am snatching away his love, which is why I lost my composure." Qian Yuqing, who was sitting at the side, really didn't know what to say. This kind of environment is simply too awkward, and I am the fuse. Beautiful women are indeed troublemakers. Huang Feidi observed Yi Hua's expression and discovered that Yi Hua's expression was very normal. Huang Li, did you say that? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Huang Li said respectfully, "Father, I think that it is indeed so." Huang Li's unyielding attitude was clearly seen in everyone's eyes. He was clearly trying to curry favor with Yi Hua. The emperor was also able to see that, so he didn't criticize Huang Li harshly. Instead, he asked Yi Hua, "Prince Yi, do you think that this counts as snatching away your love?" Yi Hua placed down the wine cup and said faintly, "What happened 1,000 years ago is already in the past. Things remain the same, but people have changed." After finished speaking, he picked up the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. Everyone heard it and felt a bit sour in their hearts. His previous wife had now become someone else's. Any man wouldn't be able to accept this. Qian Yuqing didn't want to continue acting, but she knew that she could only continue acting, otherwise, she would be harming Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing was still able to clearly see the situation. "Prince Yi, you don't blame me, right?" Huang Feidi asked. "No, your Majesty is worrying too much." "That's good. This emperor only found out about Prince Ye's return today. If this emperor knew that Prince Yi had returned, this emperor wouldn't have done such a thing. This emperor offers a toast to Prince Yi." Huang Feidi appeared to be very low profile. Of course, Yi Hua had to give him face. If not, how would he be able to continue with this show? After drinking, Huang Feidi smiled and said, "Prince Yi, in the 1,000 years that you were not here, they have already fallen in love with each other. But Prince Yi, you can rest assured. This emperor will find an even better woman for you." "Thank you, your Majesty." Yi Hua said faintly. Huang Feidi smiled, but his heart was troubled. This was different from what he had expected. Yi Hua's attitude was too cold. This Qian Yuqing was a woman who had bowed to heaven and earth with you in the past. Although it was not completed, it was at least halfway done. Now that she was married to someone else, she could actually face it so calmly without any anger. Initially, I thought that Yi Hua wouldn't be able to hold himself back from flying into a rage on the spot. If that's the case, I would have a chance. Huang Li, who was sitting on the opposite side, was also very puzzled. Could it be that this Yi Hua doesn't want to snatch Qian Yuqing back? I can help with this matter, but you have to help me obtain the position of the crown prince. However, the result is not like this. This makes me feel very puzzled. Not only was Huang Li puzzled, everyone else felt puzzled. However, Yi Shan, who was sitting below, was about to pat his chest. Fortunately, this unfilial son of mine didn't flip out. If not, Yi family would be in trouble together with him. Yi Yuanqing, who was sitting beside Yi Shan, didn't believe that big brother didn't have any feelings for big sister-in-law. Look at big sister-in-law's expression. Sometimes, a look of grievance would appear on her face. Big brother, what you said just now was too much. It hurt big sister-in-law's heart. Furthermore, it was repeatedly trampling on big sister-in-law's heart. Big sister-in-law is so pitiful. She is really willing to do anything for Aunt Lu. Where else can I find a woman like her? Yuqing, help me pour the wine. At this moment, Huang Yun suddenly said. After Qian Yuqing sat down, she didn't do anything. Things like pouring wine was something that should have been done by Qian Yuqing. Huang Yun was also a person who cared about his face. If they were sitting alone together, he wouldn't have made such a request. However, right now, all of the officials were watching. No matter what, he had to put on an act. When Huang Feidi heard what Huang Yun said, he was very happy. As long as Yi Hua is angered, it will be fine. Making Yi Hua angry, this is probably not a simple matter. If Yi Hua is angered, a lot of people will die. This kind of anger is not something that an ordinary person can accept. Qian Yuqing knew what Huang Yun meant. As the most beautiful woman in the entire Lingdu and even the entire God's realm, pouring wine for a man would show how powerful that man is. However, should I pour the wine or not? After all, in my entire life, I have only poured wine for my father and Yi Hua. Seeing that Qian Yuqing didn't move even after a long time, Huang Yun was a bit impatient. Yuqing? At this moment, Huang Li said, Yuqing, if you are unwilling, then forget it, don't force others. Towards Huang Li's words, Huang Feidi didn't have any anger on his face. This caused Shan Junren to feel strange. Just why is His Majesty not stopping Huang Li? Even Huang Yun was puzzled. Why didn't father stop Huang Li from saying such words? Actually, Huang Feidi's thinking is very simple. As long as something happens to Qian Yuqing, it will be able to anger Yi Hua, so he won't say anything. However, in the eyes of others, it is different. The 9th prince is the son that the emperor dotes on the most. Today, even the most beautiful woman was bestowed to him. Although everyone reckons that this is because of Yi Hua's return, no matter what, the woman was still bestowed to the 9th prince. However, what happened just now? The eldest prince angrily rebuked the 9th prince, and the emperor tacitly allowed it. Could it be that the 9th prince fell out of favor? Or could it be that the emperor tacitly allowed the eldest prince to compete with the 9th prince? If this is really the case, then the 9th prince's position as the crown prince is not 100% guaranteed. Qian Yuqing secretly took a glance at Yi Hua and discovered that his gaze is still as cold as ever. However, in order to not disappoint Yi Hua, I have to be brave. Qian Yuqing held onto the wine pot. This made everyone feel how helpless this woman is. She is truly pitiful. She has become a tool for battle. Seeing that Qian Yuqing picked up the wine pot, Huang Yun felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. This is still giving me face. Seeing that the wine pot is about to be filled to the brim and is about to overflow, Huang Yun stretched out his hand and held on to Qian Yuqing's hand. However, the absent-minded Qian Yuqing suddenly cried out in alarm. The wine pot in her hand directly fell onto the table, and the exquisite food scattered to the side, letting out ear-piercing clanking sounds. Chapter 1001. The wine splashed onto Huang Yun's robe. This made everyone quiet down. Huang Yun, it's not good to hit a woman, right? Huang Li suddenly said, shocking everyone. Did the ninth prince hit Qian Yuqing just now? Is that why she dropped the wine pot in her hand? Isn't the ninth prince too petty? Didn't he just hesitate for a moment? Is there a need to hit someone? Qian Yi, who was sitting below, slightly frowned, seemingly a bit dissatisfied. My daughter is being bullied right now. But what can I do? I can only swallow my anger. However, Qian Yuqing hurriedly said, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Qian Yuqing felt as if she was being bullied, but she didn't dare to say it out. That kind of grievance made people feel pity for her. Huang Fei didn't say anything. Looking at Yihua's attitude, can you still sit still? I can't help but admire you. It's fine. Huang Yun smiled and lightly flicked his robe, instantly drying the wine pot. Imperial brother, women are meant to be doted on. Huang Li grabbed onto the opportunity and ridiculed. He simply didn't want to miss any opportunity to defame Huang Yun. Huang Yun said softly, Imperial brother, this is my family's matter, you don't have to worry about it. Huang Li laughed lightly. I can see father's attitude. If it was before, father would definitely teach me a lesson. But today, Yihua was here. With Qian Yuqing, no matter how much I ridiculed him, father wouldn't say anything. Yihua looked at them silently and didn't say anything. He seemed very quiet. However, Yihua's attitude made a lot of people confused. Just what are these people doing? Of course, Yihua wouldn't give them a chance. Right now, this is just an appetizer. Later on, the main course should be served. Huang Fei suddenly smiled and looked at the officials. Today, the emperor is very happy. Among the youngsters sitting here, who else is unmarried? When everyone heard the emperor's words, they started pondering over the emperor's words. The emperor is obviously planning to be a matchmaker. Among the youngsters sitting here, there are a few who are unmarried. Yi Yuanqing was not calm at all. Yi Shan was even more so. The emperor can't be planning to matchmake his daughter, right? This isn't a good thing. After all, his daughter was now a general guarding the border. Once she got married, she would have to take care of her husband and children. Her position would definitely be removed. I was just thinking that it was fake that the emperor didn't attack the Yi family. If the emperor wanted to make a move on his daughter, then the overall strength of the Yi family would drop a few levels. It's all because of this Yihua. As soon as he returned, the entire Yi family was dragged down by him. He was a god of plagues, bringing disaster to others wherever he went. At this moment, all the single young men were on tenterhooks, afraid that the emperor himself would give them an inexplicable marriage. Prime Minister Shan, your young master hasn't gotten married yet, right? Huang Fei suddenly asked Shan Junren. This startled Shan Junren. He didn't understand what the emperor meant, but he still cupped his hands and replied, Your Majesty, my son is unmarried. Oh. Shan Yu. Huang Fei shouted. Shan Yu, who was seated below, stood up, tidied up his official robes and walked to the center. Your subject is here. What a good young man, he still hasn't gotten married yet. Shan Yu, what kind of woman do you like? Huang Fei asked. Everyone was trying to guess the emperor's intentions. I feel that this opponent of mine is a bit interesting. He doesn't play by the rules. Making me rather happy, quickly give me a pleasant surprise. Shan Junren looked at his son who was kneeling down, and his brows gradually wrinkled. Could it be that the emperor is thinking of, Shan Yu said respectfully, Your Majesty will make the decision. There's nothing wrong with what Shan Yu said. If Shan Yu said that he likes this and that, the emperor would definitely be dissatisfied. Since the emperor chose me, there must definitely be a plan. Could it be that the emperor wants to go against the emperor's decree? In this god's realm, the emperor who sits on the throne. He is a god. Everything is decided by him. Prime Minister Shan, your son is not bad. Shan Junren turned his head and cupped his hands. Your Majesty, my son is truly unpresentable. TSK. What you said is wrong, I feel that it's fine. Is there any woman here who hasn't gotten married yet? Huang Feidi continued to ask. That question was a bit redundant. In the entire main hall, there was only one woman, Yi Yuanqing, and she just so happened to not have gotten married yet. If the emperor wasn't talking about her, who else would he be talking about? Yi Shan's entire face darkened. As expected, the emperor is going to make a move. The reason why Yi family is able to become the head of a second-rate family is because their daughter is a general. If their daughter gets married, without the position of a general, then Yi family will completely withdraw from the stage of history. His Majesty is going to exterminate Yi Hua to the last man, not leaving any leeway. Although it is said that Yi Hua married into the Prime Minister's family, in the end, she is still a woman. What can a woman do? She might as well be happier than being a general. Yi Yuanqing is the same. My goal is not to get married, sleep with others, and give birth to children for others. My goal is to surpass my big brother and bravely kill the enemies at the border. But hearing what the emperor said, it is clear that the emperor is targeting me. Right now, Yi Shan didn't know if he should respond to the emperor's words or not. The emperor obviously wants me to take the initiative to offer up my daughter. This way, I won't be talked about by others. But right now, if I don't say it, it would be even less of a problem in the emperor's eyes. Then, the problem now is, should I keep my daughter or should I offer up my daughter? Both of these are dangerous, and neither of them is good. The emperor is forcing me to make a choice. Yi Yuanqing naturally knew what the emperor meant, and also knew what his father was thinking right now. This time, the emperor is determined to get rid of Yi family. To be more precise, the emperor wants to get rid of Big Brother. The atmosphere at the scene was a bit strange. Everyone would secretly look towards Yi Shan. This man who was in the limelight in the past, has now become in dire straits. This is truly the true meaning of life. Right now, it all depends on how this Yi Shan is going to choose. In any case, no matter what choice he makes, the consequences will be the same. It all depends on the emperor's attitude. Yi Hua also looked towards his biological father. I don't have a good impression of him, but I am also curious about what kind of choice my biological father will make. Of course, I also know why the emperor is like this. This is truly an eye-opener for me. Yi Yuanqing's breathing was a bit hurried, and Yi Shan was the same as well. His brain was struggling frantically. My daughter is definitely going to be married off. I might as well give the emperor some face, and it will be easier for me to talk in the future. My daughter is definitely going to be married off. If I were to anger the emperor, that would be a huge problem. After thinking through this problem, Yi Shan stood up and cupped his hands, replying to Your Majesty, my daughter, Yi Yuanqing, is still unmarried. Looking at his biological father taking the initiative to offer up his daughter, Yi Hua sneered in his heart. This kind of man. He can't even protect his family, he might as well just die. Chapter 1002. When everyone saw Yi Shan offering his daughter, they knew that he was helpless, but they still had to look down on his behavior. Yi Yuanqing's face was pale. He clenched his fists so tightly that the veins on the back of his hands were visible. He had worked hard for 1,000 years to achieve what he had today, but in their mouths, it was decided in a second. Right now, Yi Hua looked towards Yi Yuanqing. I, the Supreme Overlord, have quite a good impression of this little sister of mine. Of course, there is also that idiot little brother of mine. Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Yuanqing. Just like her, if a woman wasn't strong enough, she would only be an accessory to a man. Prime Minister Shan, what do you think? Is the in-laws still not satisfied? Huang Feidi took a sip of wine and asked. Shan Junren was a little confused. It was understandable that the emperor wanted to eliminate the Yi family, but why did he want to use his own son? This time, she really couldn't figure out what the emperor was thinking. But no matter what he was thinking, he could only say yes and not no. Your Majesty, of course you're satisfied. Yi Yuanqing is also Prince Ye's sister. In the end, it's my son who took advantage of her. Shan Juanren's words were not wrong. He did not offend either side. Huang Feidi narrowed his eyes and asked, Shan Yu, what do you think? Everyone present felt that something was different. If he was asking Shan Junren, it would be fine. But he was asking Shan Yu. Wasn't that belittling Yi Yuanqing? It was just like the brothel choosing girls. Was this suitable or not? Yi Shan's face was slightly red as he stood up. His beloved daughter was like a commodity being chosen by someone. How could he not be angry? But what could he do even if he was angry? This was the palace of Lingdu. Who dared to be presumptuous here? Then he would be King stupid. Shan Yu, who was kneeling on the ground, said respectfully, Lady Yi is talented and beautiful. I'm afraid I'm not worthy of her. Shan Yu's words shocked everyone. Even his father, Shan Junren, was shocked. His son had always been tactful in doing things, but he actually refused at this time. What was the meaning of this? Huang Li and Huang Yun were shocked. Yi Hua felt that this person was a bit interesting. This person is not afraid of power, this person is a real man and not a fake. Just like her biological father, just like a fake man. Yi Yuanqing was a little grateful to Shan Yu. Huang Feidi did not get angry. He said indifferently, Yi Shan. Your subject is here. Are you satisfied with your future son-in-law? Huang Feidi asked directly. Yi Shan lowered his head and swallowed his saliva. His breathing was rapid, and he did not give a straightforward answer. In fact, it could be said that Yi Shan was unhappy. Sitting here today was simply an insult to him. This was all Lord Ye's fault. Yi Hua. It was all because this jinx had returned. Otherwise, how could such a thing happen? Yi Shan. Huang Feidi called out again. This time, his tone was a little more serious. Yi Shan immediately knelt on the ground and said hurriedly, I was overjoyed just now, I am very satisfied. Beneath this satisfaction, there was more helplessness and sadness. Yi Yuanqing's face gradually became pale. I had thought that my fate was in my own hands, but in the end, he still couldn't grasp it. The corner of Huang Feidi's mouth curled up slightly. He asked again, General Yi, are you satisfied with your future husband? In actuality, what Huang Feidi wanted to hear was dissatisfaction, and what he wanted to hear was resistance. After that, Yi Hua would be the one to make the decision. Everything he did was to infuriate Yi Hua and make him lose his rationality. Since Qian Yuqing couldn't do it, then he would start with Yi family. There would definitely be one who could make Yi Hua lose his rationality. Yi Yuanqing slowly stood up. Yi Yuanqing, who wasn't wearing armor, was still incomparably beautiful and full of heroic spirit. Replying to your Majesty, I am not satisfied. Before Yi Yuanqing could finish speaking, Yi Hua's words came out. Following Yi Hua's words, the entire place immediately became so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. This Lord Yi actually publicly rebuked the Emperor. F***ck. This is too fierce, even the previous Yi Hua wasn't this awesome. Hearing his big brother's voice, Yi Yuanqing felt warmth in his heart. At crucial times, Big Brother is still the most reliable. Meanwhile, Yi Shan, who was kneeling on the side, cursed in his heart. Is this Yi Hua trying to kill Yi family? The Emperor is asking Yi Yuanqing, what are you interrupting for? To interrupt when the Emperor is speaking, that is a huge disrespect. Huang Yun laughed in his heart. This Yi Hua finally couldn't sit still anymore. Father truly has good eyesight. Right now, Huang Li was a bit worried. Originally, Yi Hua could have ignored everything, but why did he have to rebuke father? This is clearly not allowed. Right now, Qian Yuqing was starting to worry about Yi Hua. The crime of being disrespectful is not small. Yi Hua, just what are you thinking? On the other hand, Huang Feidi was very happy. This Yihua finally moved. Lord Yi? Are you dissatisfied with me? Huang Feidi turned his head and looked towards Yihua. His tone was very gentle, but when an emperor speaks, even if it was gentle, it would still carry a trace of killing intent. Just now, Yihua had a sudden impulse to increase the difficulty for himself. If he didn't say a single word, then tonight would be over just like that. Sometimes, giving in to the opponent was also a kind of behavior that looked down on the opponent. I'm sorry, I have already said everything. Yihua said faintly, General Yi guards the borders and protects the peace of our god's realm. Her home should be on the battlefield, and not serving men. Following Yihua's words, the atmosphere of the scene became even heavier, and it was as if even the air was about to solidify. Huang Feidi's gaze gradually sunk. This Yihua is much more talkative than before. Lord Yi, General Yi is, in the end, a woman. Marrying someone else's wife is also part of the natural order of the world, and giving birth to children is also part of the natural order of the world. Could it be that General Yi is not going to marry in her entire life? Yihua said carelessly, Your Majesty, I was just talking to my little sister about this matter today. When choosing a man, one must definitely choose a man who is able to protect himself. Your Majesty, do you think that this sentence is correct? Of course, the men of my god's realm are naturally able to protect their own women. Yihua put on an act and said, Your Majesty is wise, that's why I told my little sister that as long as the person is able to defeat your brother will send you to his bed. Yihua's words caused the people below to laugh. This Lord Yi is quite humorous. Even Yi Yuanqing's face was a bit red. Big brother sure knows how to speak nonsense. Yi Shan's face was also red, but it was red from anger. On the other hand, Qian Yuqing was thinking, if you have the ability to carry me to your bed, do you dare? You don't dare at all. Right now, Huang Li felt that this Yihua is much more interesting than before. He is not that old-fashioned anymore. However, right now, Shan Junren was a bit unhappy. Doesn't this mean that my son is unable to protect my own woman? However, Shan Yu, who was kneeling below, didn't think this way, because he truly disliked this Yi Yuanqing. This kind of woman who has been on the battlefield, her entire body is filled with killing intent, causing Shan Yu to feel uncomfortable all over. Chapter 1003. Huang Feidi chuckled and said, Prince Yi is really considerate of General Yi. Of course, after all, General Yi is also my little sister. Yihua said faintly. What he meant was very clear, if you want to touch General Yi, then you have to deal with me first. Yi Yuanqing was very grateful to his big brother for everything that he had done for me. It has been so many years since we last met, and big brother is actually able to protect me like this, even more than how I treat my sister-in-law. It would be great if big brother could protect sister-in-law. What if this emperor insists on doing so? Huang Feidi asked faintly. When these words were spoken, everyone's gaze looked towards Yihua, and they were all waiting to see how this Prince Yi would retort back. And how would the emperor choose? Right now, Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yihua wouldn't act recklessly. If he were to continue fighting like this, he would end up in a passive situation, and at that time, the emperor would definitely be able to get hold of his weakness. On the other hand, Huang Yun wanted Yihua to continue fighting back. Isn't he very awesome? Huang Li and Qian Yuqing's thoughts were the same. Taking a step back at this time, the sea and the sky are wide open. I can slowly plan in the future. Right now, Yi Shan's mood was a bit complicated, but right now, he was basically unable to say anything. In any case, I am going to be killed by Yihua. This Yi family is going to be destroyed by Yihua's hands sooner or later. Yi Yuanqing gritted her teeth. If her elder brother continued to argue, the emperor might take action. After all, this was a feast at Hongmen. However, was Yihua that kind of person who was afraid of trouble? Sometimes, attacking first would add another layer of difficulty to the game. Just as Yihua was about to say something, Yi Yuanqing spoke first. This subject thanks your majesty for bestowing this marriage. Yi Yuanqing's words stunned everyone. They all felt that the brother-sister relationship of the Yi family was quite deep, The older brother fought against the emperor for the younger sister, and the younger sister gave up her own ideals for the older brother. Such siblings were indeed rare. Yi Shan never thought that his daughter would do such a thing. It was truly shocking. Xian Yuqing also didn't expect that Yi Yuanqing would actually agree to it. Most likely, this is all so that Yi Hua doesn't offend the emperor. However, right now, Yi Hua was very unhappy. He turned his head and looked towards his little sister with cold eyes. The words that you said just now, isn't it equivalent to saying that I, your brother, am not good enough? You made me lose face. You silly sister, you're not helping your big brother at all, you're making the enemy happy. That's why I, the Supreme Overlord, often say, women are just that their hair is long, but their knowledge is short. Qingye and Dongwang Baiji also had this kind of bad habit. Huang Feidi laughed lightly. Huang Feidi was also feeling very irritated in his heart. I was just waiting for Yi Hua to come at me. He didn't expect Yi Yuanqing to say such a thing. Prince Yi, it seems that General Yi is quite sensible, don't you think so? Yi Hua knew that things would turn out like this. This emperor is scolding me for being insensible in a roundabout way. Fine. I, the Supreme Overlord, am a person who bears grudges. I, the Supreme Overlord, will remember this debt, and when the time comes, I will let you pay for it with interest. I, the Supreme Overlord, must think of a way. This little sister of mine is just timid, Your Majesty, please don't take offense. Yi Hua laughed lightly. When Huang Feidi heard this, his face darkened. Even Shan Junren was the same, and so was every single person sitting here. The meaning behind Yi Hua's words just now was already provoking the emperor. He said that his sister was afraid, but he himself was not. Prince Yi. What do you mean by that? Huang Yun asked in a deep voice. There were some questions that he had to ask himself. Yi Hua looked towards Huang Yun and said faintly, when adults are talking, children should not interrupt. Everyone, according to seniority, in front of Yi Hua, Huang Yun was indeed a child. Huang Yun's expression immediately became bad. This Yi Hua is actually looking at me like a child. Don't you know that the child that you are talking about is going to sleep with your woman? Right now, Huang Feidi wanted to get angry, but he didn't have any evidence to use against Yi Hua. If he were to get angry wrongly, his reputation would be affected. I blame myself for giving Yi Hua a posthumous reputation back then. If I didn't, this matter would be much easier to handle. Huang Yun isn't young anymore, isn't he going to get married and have a child soon? I will have to trouble Yuqing then. Huang Feidi isn't someone to be trifled with. Your woman is going to give me a grandson soon, can you endure it or not? Qian Yuqing's face became a bit pale. I won't do that. I definitely won't. If it really comes to that, Yuqing would rather die. Then, congratulations, Your Majesty. Most of the people thought that Yi Hua would go against the emperor again, but the result was surprising. For his sister, Prince Yi dared to go against the emperor, but this former woman didn't receive such treatment. This Qian Yuqing is indeed pitiful. Qian Yi, who was sitting below, couldn't bear to watch anymore. My daughter is just a chess piece that is being manipulated by them. Was my way of doing things wrong? I shouldn't have let my daughter get involved in this power struggle. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said, how could she feel good in her heart? Yi Hua, do you still want Yuqing or not? After hearing what Yi Hua said, Huang Feidi laughed loudly, then raised his cup and said, Today, there are two happy events. Let's drink this cup of wine. Your Majesty, blessings. The officials immediately congratulated. The two happy events naturally referred to Huang Yun and Qian Yuqing, as well as Shan Yu and Yi Yuanqing. Looking at the current power struggle, Yi Hua seemed to be losing by a bit. After all, this was an away game, and they had too many advantages. If this matter were to happen in Wushu Empire, hang and beat them up. However, I don't want to use martial strength to hang and beat you all up, that would be too much of a bully. After the cup of wine was finished, the people below returned to their seats. Yi Yuanqing lowered his head and remained silent. Big Brother offended the emperor for me, and I can also give up my future for Big Brother. At the side, Yi Shan was silent. No one knew what he was thinking. Shan Yu's mentality was similar to Yi Yuanqing's. Marrying a woman he didn't like was too dangerous. However, this was the emperor's decree. There was nothing he could do. The banquet was still going on, and Yi Hua was waiting for the emperor to continue making his move. I have to redeem myself. Otherwise, if his subordinates were to find out about this, wouldn't they laugh at him for losing face in someone else's territory? Lord Yi, how did you survive these 1,000 years? How did you manage to escape from death back then? Huang Feidi asked curiously. In actuality, he really wanted to know how Yi Hua had been living all these years, especially how Yi Hua had managed to survive back then. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua laughed lightly. Your Majesty, on that day, there was an expert who helped me, and I was able to preserve my life. However, my injuries were too severe, and during the treatment, I lost my memories. Master? Does Prince Yi still remember what it looks like? Huang Feidi asked in a low voice. Yi Hua said in a low voice, I don't remember what that person looked like, but he brought me to Kangluo continent. Huang Feidi was very confused. What Yi Hua said was different from what Jackdaw said. One of them was definitely lying. Oh. Then, Lord Yi has been living in Kangluo continent for the past 1,000 years? Yes. Yi Hua said faintly. Chapter 1004. Huang Feidi squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Hua. Seems like Your Highness Yi has been living comfortably for the past 1,000 years. Not bad. Yi Hua's tone was still so calm, and his emotions were maintained in a straight line. This caused Huang Feidi to be a bit annoyed. Huang Feidi nodded his head and said with a smile, Oh right, Your Highness Yi, back then, you still have an old subordinate who survived. When he heard that Your Highness Yi has returned, he specially came over to see you. Old subordinate? What is this emperor trying to do again? He clearly knows that I have lost my memory, yet he is still talking about an old subordinate. He is probably here to see if I am real or fake. Oh. I would like to see him. Yi Hua said lightly. Since the emperor has already arranged everything, I will just continue playing the game. Following the eunuch's shout, a middle-aged man walked in. This person was dressed in ordinary clothes and was not very luxurious. The wrinkles on his face were very deep, like many scratches. Although he was no longer on the battlefield, a faint murderous aura bloomed in his eyes. As expected of a veteran soldier. Yi Yuanqing looked at the man who walked in and felt puzzled. I don't recognize this man. Big Brother's bodyguard even brought him home for a drink before, but I have never seen this man before. This commoner, Yang Yao, kowtows to Your Majesty. May Your Majesty be blessed. Yang Yao stopped walking and kneeled down. You may rise. Huang Feidi smiled faintly. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yang Yao stood up and slightly lowered his head. Yang Yao, your former General Yi is sitting here, why didn't you greet him? Huang Feidi asked. It was clear that he was going to target Yi Hua. Yang Yao still lowered his head and said respectfully, Your Majesty, there is a difference between Prince Yi and General Yi. Right after Yang Yao said this, everyone present immediately went into an uproar. This person is definitely someone that the emperor found to trick me. Huang Yun was secretly delighted. This should be another one of father's chess pieces, right? Huang Feidi's expression sunk as he shouted out lightly, audacious. How dare you disrespect Prince Yi? Yi Hua felt that it was funny. In terms of acting, who can be my opponent? This commoner doesn't dare, but this commoner is speaking the truth. Yang Yao was neither servile nor overbearing, appearing very upright and plain-spoken. At this moment, Huang Li suddenly said, Presumptuous, you actually dare to speak arrogantly in front of father. Huang Feidi glanced at his eldest son. The latter's body trembled and he quickly sat down. His father's warning just now was very clear. Huang Yun had seen it as well. Seems like as long as it was someone who was targeting Yi Hua, his father emperor would turn a blind eye to it. However, as long as it was someone who dared to create trouble, his father emperor would definitely not let him off easily. Seems like this brother of mine had misunderstood earlier on. Yang Yao, tell me the truth. If it is not the truth, then it is the crime of deceiving the emperor. Huang Yun shouted coldly. At this moment, it was definitely time for him to step up. His father had already made a good start, so he had to be tactful. This commoner doesn't dare to deceive you, then this commoner shall be bold. Yi Hua was very curious as to how this old subordinate of mine is planning to trick me. I hope that this subordinate will not disappoint me. Yang Yao suddenly cupped his fists and said with a sorrowful tone, I heard that General Yi survived and even returned to Spirit Capital. As a survivor, I'm very happy. Because General Yi can work for the Emperor again, but General Yi, on the other hand, made those deceased undead bitterly disappointed. Following Yang Yao's words, everyone began to ponder. How did they make General Yi feel bitterly disappointed? After General Yi returned, he didn't pay his respects to those deceased undead at all. Back then, if it wasn't for the deputy generals risking their lives to protect General Yi would probably. But towards those deputy generals who saved his life and the 100,000 soldiers, Prince Yi didn't even put them in his heart. How could a general like this not make those deceased undead bitterly disappointed? After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing's expression gradually became grave. The emperor wants to ruin Big Brother's reputation. This is really ruthless. After all, Big Brother has a very high position in the hearts of the people. If Big Brother were to carry a bad reputation, that would be a kind of disguised attack. Little Tian is really too much. Why didn't he remind Big Brother? Now that Big Brother is caught by someone else. A lot of people thought of this point. Indeed, Prince Yi should pay his respects to General Yi when he entered the city. Now that he has become a target for others to talk about, the gains do not make up for the losses. Yi Hua originally thought that the emperor would say that it was true or false, but he didn't expect that the emperor would still play the emotional card. This caught me a bit unprepared. After all, I don't know anything about what happened in the past. But this is what makes it interesting. This was originally a normal mode, but now, it should have become a hard mode. Do you think it's that easy to ruin my reputation? Prince Ye's actions are indeed lacking in bearing. Huang Yunqing said, ruthlessly attacking Yi Hua. Xian Yuqing, who was sitting at the side, wished that she could slap Huang Yunqing away. When did you have the right to talk about my man? Scram. Huang Feidi laughed. Huang, you can't blame Prince Yi for this. After all, Prince Yi doesn't even remember, which is why he didn't pay his respects to General Yi. Is Prince Yi like this? Yi Hua felt that Emperor Yi was the most formidable opponent that he had ever met. Emperor Yi was able to completely suppress me, to the point where I couldn't even get out of the situation. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, am not someone who acts according to common sense. I will have to disappoint you. No. Yi Hua said faintly. Following Yi Hua's words, everyone started discussing in low voices once again. Prince Ye's words are a bit lacking in standard. No matter what, those who died were all my old subordinates, and it is only right for me to pay my respects to General Yi. However, some people discovered that this was the second time that Prince Yi spoke against the emperor, and Prince Yi did not give the emperor any face at all. Yi Yuanqing truly admired Big Brother. To even dare to speak against the Emperor of God's realm, Big Brother has become even more formidable than before. In the past, Big Brother didn't dare to speak against General Yi directly, and could only use silence to speak against General Yi. But now, Big Brother knows how to speak against General Yi directly. Yi Shan even had the heart to die. My heart hasn't been at ease for a single moment today. To be more precise, ever since Yi Hua came back, I knew that something would happen. Xian Yi's view of Yi Hua was about to change, and I even feel that the Yi Hua in front of me is giving off a familiar feeling. This familiarity isn't the Yi Hua in the past, but I can't remember who it is. Suddenly, Yang Yao let out a wail. All the deceased soldiers, your deaths weren't worth it. I reckon that the show that happened tonight would very quickly spread out, and under the emperor's meticulous arrangements, Yi Hua's reputation would be smeared. Oh. Does Prince Yi think that what I said was wrong? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Yi Hua said lightly, brother, keep it in your heart. If you have the time to pay your respects to General Yi, why don't you think about how to take revenge for General Yi? Hang the skulls of General Yi at the city gate and expose them to the sun until their ashes scatter. When Yi Hua said this, everyone quietened down once again. Even Shan Junren swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This Lord Yi had such guts to actually say such words. Even Huang Li was shocked. As long as one had a bit of brains, they would know that this was father's arrangement. This Prince Yi said that father was a despicable person, and even said that he was going to hang father's head at the city gate. F***K. Why is this Prince Yi so formidable? Chapter 1005. Xian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua, who was emitting a domineering aura, and she felt very elated in her heart. This is my Yi Hua, he is even more formidable than before, to be able to directly threaten the emperor. Yi Shan was in despair. His first thought was that the Yi clan was doomed. Yi Yuanqing really wanted to give him a thumbs up and shout, brother is awesome. When Yi Hua said this sentence, not only did he express his wish to take revenge for the soldiers, he also conveniently ridiculed the emperor. In any case, he was ridiculing the person who was causing trouble behind the scenes. Yi Hua felt that he had made a huge profit out of this, as he was able to reverse the situation that he was in just a moment ago. Oh Emperor, if you have the ability, then go ahead and expose it. If he were to admit that he was the mastermind behind all this, the main body would be a little disappointed. After all, if he were to be exposed, it would mean that he would have to use force to solve the problem. Would a problem that could be solved by force still be considered a problem? Huang Feidi didn't expect that Yi Hua would say such a thing. And in front of so many people. He really wanted to chop off his head. In the end, Huang Feidi still underestimated Yi Hua. He thought that Yi Hua was still the same Yi Hua from before, the kind that doesn't know how to speak. I was still thinking of smearing Yi Hua's name tonight, but I didn't expect that I would be able to let Yi Hua show off his might, and he even wanted to hang me at the city gate. You have guts. Yi Hua. You have more guts than you did 1,000 years ago. Looks like you still haven't given up on this emperor's seat. I can take back what I gave you back then, and I can do the same now. However, the current Yi Hua was not interested in the throne. Rather, he wanted to do this, and then do that, and then enjoy their expressions of despair. That kind of helplessness should be able to make me feel happy. Huang Feidi chuckled. Prince Ye's words make this emperor blush with shame. I didn't expect Prince Yi to be so righteous. Even though I said that, how can I continue to give Yi Hua the military power? That doesn't exist. It wasn't easy for me to find an excuse to get back Yi Yuanqing's military power. The Yi clan should not be allowed to exist. They were a bunch of unruly people. Always eyeing this emperor's throne, if there is a chance, I will definitely eradicate the entire Yi clan. Kneeling on the ground, Yang Yao frowned. He couldn't let this go. I should perform a bit more. Maybe the emperor will take a fancy to me and give me a job. Yang Yao could be seen suddenly standing up, then pointing at Yi Hua, he shouted, "You are a fake." Following this, everyone's expression changed. Even Huang Feidi's expression sank. This wasn't something he had arranged. Huang Feidi looked at Yang Yao. If I can prove that Yi Hua is a fake, that would be great. If I am unable to do so, then I would be throwing away my face, and I might even be ridiculed by Yi Hua. However, I am unable to do anything at all, and I feel as sullen as if I have just eaten feces. To put it bluntly, Huang Feidi had his own strengths and weaknesses, and Yi Hua also had his own strengths and weaknesses. The two of them had a tacit understanding, and for the time being, they did not shed all pretenses of cordiality. Huang Feidi was someone who cared a lot about his reputation. If not, after Yehua's death, he wouldn't have been conferred the title of General Shan Yong. Huang Li shouted angrily, "How dare you slander Lord Yi? This commoner dares not. This commoner has a way to prove it." Yang Yao was betting everything he had. Today was the day for him to make a comeback. After everyone heard this, they whispered to each other. Tonight was really not a peaceful night. However, this scene was simply too exciting. It had not happened for many years. This Prince Yi was stirring up trouble as soon as he came back. It was very interesting. Do you know the consequences? Huang Yin asked. This commoner is willing to bear all the consequences. Yang Yao appeared very confident. Back then, he had indeed seen General Yi die, so how could General Yi come back to life? How could there be so many miracles in the world? This Prince Yi is most likely a fake. Huang Feiди looked at Yi Hua and asked, Prince Yi, what do you think about this matter? Huang Feidi's question wasn't because he was afraid, rather, he didn't want others to say that he was doubting Yi Hua. Others could doubt Yi Hua, but he couldn't. Let's give it a try then. Yi Hua still didn't know what Huang Feidi meant. At the same time, Yi Hua was also very curious about how Huang Feidi was going to prove it. Yang Yao could be seen taking out a white crystal from his sleeve. When everyone saw the crystal, they immediately knew that it wasn't an ordinary item. The crystal was emitting out a serene aura, and it should be an ancient artifact. Yang Yao explained, this is a spirit gem, it is able to detect all lies. After everyone heard what Yang Yao said, they sucked in a breath of cold air. The first thing that came to their mind was that this spirit gem was given to them by the emperor. In actuality, the emperor was also a bit astonished right now. This matter has become a bit out of control. I have heard of this spirit gem before, and it indeed has such an effect. However, what if this Yi Hua is real? Right now, I can only hope that this Yi Hua is fake, because in everyone's heart, they all have their doubts about whether this Yi Hua is real or fake. It's just that they subconsciously believe that Yi Hua is not dead. Even Qian Yuqing, Yi Yuanqing, and Yi Shan had the same thoughts. There is nothing more powerful than a real hammer. The atmosphere of the scene was a bit heavy, and everyone was looking at the spirit gem that was floating in the air. It is truly the time to witness a miracle. Yi Hua stood up and stared at the officials. With this gaze, it was as if he was the emperor. At the very least, in the eyes of the officials, this kind of aura was indeed like that of an emperor. Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua worriedly, hoping that nothing bad will happen to him. Yi Hua slowly walked down the stairs and stood beside Yang Yao. Yang Yao immediately felt a pressure coming towards him. This pressure is even stronger than General Yi back then. Yang Yao's heart was thumping madly. It seems like it could jump out at any moment. Yi Hua could be heard saying faintly to everyone, since you all want to see it, I will show it to you all. After finished speaking, Yi Hua held the spirit gem in his hand. Yang Yao let out a sigh of relief. I thought that Prince Yi was going to kill me just now. Prince Yi, I will ask, and you will answer. If I am not lying, the spirit gem will light up, and if I am lying, the spirit gem will dim down. After hearing that, Yi Hua nodded his head. Then, I will test it first. Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now? Yes. Following Yi Hua's words, the spirit gem in his hand indeed lit up. However, right now, Qian Yuqing was thinking, why didn't I ask Yi Hua if he loves me? Such a good opportunity. Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now? No. As expected, the spirit gem dimmed down. However, everyone wanted to scold Yang Yao for being an idiot. What AF * king good opportunity this is? How could you ask such a stupid question? Huang Feidi was simply about to explode from anger. This is simply an idiot. Drink your F * king alcohol. Yang Yao's expression gradually became grave. Prince Yi. Is he the General Yi in the past or not? This should be the question that everyone was concerned about, and right now, they were waiting for Yi Hua to answer. Yi Hua looked at everyone and said slowly, yes. Everyone stared at the spirit gem in Yi Hua's hand. If the spirit gem didn't light up, then tonight, there would be bloodshed. Reckon that the entire Yi family would be buried along with the spirit gem. If the spirit gem were to light up, the emperor would definitely have a headache. The good and the bad would be decided by a single thought. Chapter 1006. In actuality, Yihua had 10,000 ways to make the stone light up, but he suddenly didn't want to do it, because Yihua himself wanted to know if he was the Yihua of the past. After waiting for 2 breaths of time, the spirit stone in Yihua's hand still didn't light up, causing everyone to hold their breath. Looking at the situation, Huang Feidi's mouth gradually revealed an arc. As long as I wave my hand, I will be able to kill Yihua. In the royal family, other than Huang Li, everyone was hoping that the damned spirit stone wouldn't light up. However, among the officials, most of them hoped that the spirit stone wouldn't light up. From this, it could be seen how much of a failure Yihua was in the past. However, in the next second, everyone was about to be disappointed. The spirit stone immediately lit up, and the light illuminated the entire hall, to the point that it was a bit dazzling. As the spirit stone lit up, Qian Yuqing was the happiest, and the second happiest was naturally Yi Yuanqing. As expected of Big Brother. The third happiest was Huang Li. It's great that it's real. However, other than these 3 people, everyone else didn't have much happiness on their faces, including Yi Shan. However, he also let out a sigh of relief. If the spirit stone didn't light up just now, Yi family would probably be finished. Huang Feidi's expression didn't change, but he was feeling very unhappy in his heart. Doing this is basically publicly admitting that Yihua is really back. The loss outweighs the gain. This damned Yang Yao. He should have just killed him. He completely messed up my plan. I reckon that tomorrow, the entire city will be shouting that this Yihua is even more powerful than today. Right now, Yang Yao was a bit at a loss. This shouldn't be happening. Why did it light up? Why? How can General Yi still be alive? It's impossible. Yihua threw the spirit stone in his hand to Yang Yao, and Yang Yao reflexively caught it. Let me ask you a question. Yihua said faintly. Everyone swallowed their saliva. They clearly felt that Yihua was going to scold the emperor again. Even Huang Feidi's expression changed slightly, and he immediately looked towards Huang Yun. Of course, Huang Yun knew. Huang Li saw it, but he couldn't do anything. Before Yihua could ask his question, Huang Yun shouted out angrily, slandering His Highness, this is a death sentence. Yang Yao reacted, and he immediately knelt down and shouted, Emperor. However, he had only managed to say the word Emperor, when a bloody hole appeared between his eyebrows. Blood flowed down from between his eyebrows, dripping drop by drop onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Above the palace. No one had ever died. However, someone had died today. This was a bad omen. Shan Junren frowned. The blood of the imperial palace. The imperial family was shocked. This meant that someone from the royal family was going to die. Everyone was stunned. They were all thinking the same thing as Shan Junren. This was a prophecy about the crisis of the royal family. However, the person who could bring danger to the royal family was probably Prince Yi, who was standing here. Other than him, there was no one else. Huang Feidi looked at the expressions of the officials and seemed to have realized it. His face gradually darkened. He had been too careless just now. However, there was no other way. If Yihua were to ask this question, wouldn't I become the emperor who framed the loyal and virtuous emperor? If such a thing were to spread out, he could forget about continuing to sit on the throne. If this emperor were to make a choice again, it would still be the same. There was nothing much to say. This Lord Yi is smart. How smart? You only said one sentence, but you actually forced this emperor to kill someone in the hall. He even had to suffer the damage of rumors. Not bad. Yihua, you have improved. You can be this emperor's opponent now. Yang Yao's primordial spirit could be seen flying out from Yang Yao's body, and Huang Yun stretched out his hand and grabbed onto the primordial spirit. That weak primordial spirit immediately dissipated. Cutting the grass and not pulling out the roots, that would be the worst result. Huang Li swallowed his saliva. Right now, I don't want to say anything. The one who killed someone just now wasn't me. Please don't let this kind of curse land on me. The scene was completely silent, no one dared to breathe loudly. Yihua lowered his head and looked towards Yang Yao's corpse. I only wanted to ask if you drank alcohol tonight. This father and son pair killed you just like that, their hearts are truly vicious. Even I have never been so vicious before, sigh, seems like I am still a good person. At least, compared to them, I am too kind. Yihua looked towards the emperor and said lightly, Thank you, your majesty. What a sarcastic sentence. Huang Feidi almost couldn't hold himself back anymore. This Yihua is too arrogant. This Yihua is too arrogant. This is blatantly mocking me. Huang Yun is the same as well. For me to kill my own people, this is already a joke. Qian Yuqing's beautiful eyes rippled. Yihua is so handsome, he is even more handsome than before. However, Qian Yuqing couldn't help but look towards that spirit gem. When the time comes, I will let Yihua grab onto that spirit gem and ask him if he likes me or not. Huang Feidi held back his anger and said with a smile, I had long felt that there was a problem with that person, and as expected, it was Prince Yi who was the one who probed that person out. Men. Drag him out. Yihua sat back onto his seat and said lightly, Actually, I wanted to ask him if he drank alcohol tonight. Huang Feidi, like hell I will believe you. However, right now, Huang Yun's expression wasn't very good. Only after killing that person in the palace did he recall something. In the past generations, the royal family had never killed anyone in the palace. The blood of the royal family, the death of the royal family. Damn it. This Yihua. I will cut you into 1,000 pieces. You can be at ease. I will sleep with your woman every day, and let your woman give birth to my children. Furthermore, it will be the kind that will give birth to children endlessly. I will let your soul see me *CK your woman. And you will only be able to watch. Huang Feidi felt that he won the first half, but he lost the second half. From the looks of it, I can only wait for Yun-er's wedding. Or I can start from Yi family. That's right. Kangluo continent? This Yihua should have family members in Kangluo continent, right? Hee, this is a good idea. Yihua, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have come back. And you even dared to provoke me. Thinking up to here, Huang Feidi's mood became much better. Since we are talking about alcohol, let us drink to our heart's content. All of the officials stood up and shouted out respectfully, Your Majesty. However, right after these words were shouted out, an imperial guard could be seen hurriedly running in and shouting out, Report. Under normal circumstances, if there wasn't anything major, the imperial guard would be waiting outside. However, only when there was important military information would the imperial guard rush in without caring about anything else. This point, everyone present knew that the border was in a state of emergency. What happened? Why are you so flustered? Huang Feidi asked gravely. Replying to Your Majesty. The scout reported that Shanghai has gathered an army of 5 million, and 3 days later, they will attack the border, 5 million. Everyone was shocked. An army of 5 million. This was something that Shanghai had never done before. Under normal circumstances, a small-scale army would only have a few tens of thousands of soldiers, and even if it was a large-scale army, it would only have a few 100,000 soldiers. The highest number of soldiers that Shanghai had gathered was only 1 million, and that was when Yihua's group was wiped out. This time, it was actually 5 million. Did Shanghai's people drink fake alcohol? Did they get drunk? Chapter 1007. Following the guard's report, the entire place was silent. Shanghai was invading. The scene was unprecedented. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. A rare look of fear appeared on everyone's face. At this moment, even Huang Feidi was frowning. This matter is too sudden. In the past, Shanghai was just a small place. Why did it suddenly become tough this time? He actually gathered an army of 5 million. Huang Yun suddenly stood up, walked to the center, and knelt down. Father, your son is willing to fight the enemy. Huang Li scolded himself in his heart. He had let Huang Yun seize the initiative again. Huang Li hurriedly appeared and knelt down. "Father, I am willing to fight." Yi Hua sat silently at the side. "Even if those people from Shanghai were to fight their way to the city gate, it wouldn't be of any concern to me." Yi Yuanqing also walked up and said respectfully, "Your Majesty, the war is imminent. Please allow me to fight." Huang Feidi had originally wanted to remove Yi Yuanqing's military power, but just as Yi Yuanqing had said, a great war was imminent, and it was time to use people. How could they let a general marry because of their own selfish desires? This was also a move that would damage the morale of the army. The gains did not make up for the losses. Therefore, Huang Feidi said solemnly, "General Yi, go to the border now and guard it strictly. This empress will immediately send reinforcements." Yi Yuanqing was overjoyed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. This general will head over right away." Yi Yuanqing stood up, took a look at her big brother, then turned around and left. The elegance of a female general was undeniable. Shan Yu looked at this fiancée of his and blushed with shame. The way she walks doesn't have any hint of a woman at all. It is truly a pity for that face and that figure of hers. After Yi Yuanqing left, the atmosphere became a little heavy. Yi Shan let out a breath. My daughter's back view is extremely similar to the back view of Yi Hua's back view when he left. This time, Shanghai has sent 5 million over. My daughter is in a very dangerous situation. Shan Junren said respectfully, Your Majesty, I'm afraid the attack from Shanghai this time is a premeditated and planned operation. We can't let our guard down. What opinion does Prime Minister Shan have? Huang Feidi asked indifferently, ignoring his son who was kneeling on the ground. Shan Junren said in a low voice, Does Your Majesty still remember the once every 100,000 years supreme? The moment he said that, the crowd began to discuss fervently. Their faces were filled with shock. If it wasn't for Shan Junren's reminder, everyone would have forgotten about it. How could Huang Feidi not know about the Supreme that appeared once every 100,000 years? If he could obtain the Supreme, he would be able to advance from a Supreme Being to a Supreme Being. This was the fastest way, but it only happened once every 100,000 years, and it might not even appear. Legend has it that only by relying on a strong murderous aura and countless souls of the dead could one draw out the Supreme. No wonder the Demon Emperor sent 5 million people to attack the border. His goal was supreme. If he could break through his own borders, that would be an even better ending. Of course, Huang Li and Huang Yun also knew about the legend of Supreme. Greed immediately appeared on their faces. If they could become a supreme sovereign, that would be such a great moment. The throne would be more than enough. He could even open up his own little world and become a ruler. Prime Minister Shan, please continue, Huang Feidi said softly. Your Majesty, we have no choice but to accept the challenge. Moreover, we should snatch Supreme. Along with Shan Junren's words, Huang Feidi slowly closed his eyes. If we can snatch Supreme, that would be great. However, this is Supreme will cause a lot of people to fight over it, and some supreme beings that are not under my jurisdiction will also make a move. Seems like the losses of this time snatching of Supreme will be disastrous. If we don't want the Demon Emperor to succeed, we shouldn't send any troops. However, this also means that the border will be lost. Afterward, the Demon Emperor would be able to directly kill his way over to Lingdu. Along the way, he would burn, kill, and plunder without a single bit of benevolence. If the Demon Emperor's 5 million people were to enter Lingdu, the losses would be even greater. If that happened, their losses would be even greater, so reinforcements were absolutely necessary. Furthermore, they should snatch that Supreme. Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yi Hua wouldn't go, or that His Majesty wouldn't allow Yi Hua to go. In the past, Yi Hua had disappeared for 1,000 years because of this. Qian Yuqing didn't want to see Yi Hua getting hurt because of this. Prince Yi, what do you think of this matter? Huang Feidi suddenly asked. Just now, Yi Hua was thinking about that Supreme. When the time comes, there will definitely be a lot of supreme beings that will come. This will be a good opportunity for me to take revenge. The people of Shanghai all deserve to die. Kill. Yihua said with dense killing intent, looking like he had already made up his mind to kill. However, right now, Huang Feidi was thinking of another possibility. Just like last time. Continue to kill Yihua. At that time, Yihua will die on the battlefield again. As for my 2 sons, I will definitely send them over this time. After all, this is such a big matter, the members of the royal family will definitely have to participate. If not, others will say that my children are cowards. All right. Huang Yun, listen up. Yes, Your Majesty. You are to bring 3 million soldiers over to reinforce the troops. Yes, Your Majesty. Huang Yun said respectfully. Huang Li. Yes, Your Majesty. You are to bring 1 million soldiers over to reinforce the troops. Hearing that, Huang Li's brows wrinkled. Isn't father being too biased? I am the eldest son, yet I am only allowed to bring 1 million soldiers, while my 9th son is actually allowed to bring 3 million soldiers. Is father looking down on me this much? But, what else can I do? Yes, Your Majesty. After speaking, Huang Feidi looked towards Yihua. Prince Yi, it seems like you also want to take revenge. Of course. Yihua said faintly. Originally, I wanted to let you rest in the city for a few more days, but the demon army attacked. Since Prince Yi wishes to take revenge, I shall satisfy your wish. Prince Yi shall go with the identity of an army supervisor. Yihua laughed in his heart. This emperor was still hesitating just now. From the looks of it, he wants to get rid of me on the battlefield again. All right then, let's see who is more powerful, or am I more powerful? Thank you, Your Majesty. Yihua said while putting on an act. You have your own plan, I have my own plan. Let's see who is more powerful. However, my chances of winning are definitely much higher. Sigh, it can only be said that those who go against me basically don't have a good ending. No matter how good my brain is, it is impossible for me to avoid fighting with martial strength. With such a thing happening, the banquet will definitely have to end early. Yihua naturally went back home. Qian Yuqing naturally had to go back home as well. After all, she still hasn't married into the royal family yet, and she can't directly sleep in the royal palace yet. Huang Yun was about to set off for the battle, and he had things to prepare for. Thus, he didn't have the time to take care of Qian Yuqing. Furthermore, right now, Huang Feidi even called Qian Yuqing to his bedroom. Father. That Yihua is simply too arrogant, he is completely looking down on you, father. The moment Huang Yun arrived, Huang Yun started adding oil to the fire. I feel that only after Yihua dies would Qian Yuqing be wholeheartedly devoted to me. If Huang Feidi gets angry just because of what Huang Yun said, then he wouldn't be a formidable emperor. Chapter 1008. Of course, it's through meritorious service. Huang Yun understood this point. Only by meritorious service could he ascend to the position of crown prince. Huang Feidi nodded. Imperial father has taken care of you as much as he can. If you don't do a good job this time, Imperial father will doubt your ability. Father, I won't let you down. Huang Yunyan said. This was his best chance, and he had to grasp it. Only by performing meritorious deeds and becoming the crown prince would no one dare to say anything. Huang Feidi nodded. Go back and prepare. The day after tomorrow, bring some men to the front line. Don't fail. Yes. Imperial father, it was only Imperial father. Don't you need me to do anything for Yihua? Huang Yun asked vigilantly. There's no need for that. I have my own arrangements. Just do what you need to do. Huang Yun was relieved to hear that his imperial father had made arrangements. Father, rest early. Your son will take his leave. Huang Feidi nodded. Not long after Huang Yun left, Shan Junren slowly walked in. Of course, the jackdaw was also there. Huang Feidy lowered his head slightly and did not look at the two in front of him. He said, "It seems like the plan from back then will have to be repeated again." Shan Junren frowned slightly after hearing this. Since the emperor wanted to destroy the Yi family, why did he want Yi Yuanqing to marry his son? He didn't understand. Jackdaw croaked, "Your Majesty, don't worry. I won't let him come back alive this time." Huang Feidy raised his head and looked at Jackdaw, then said gravely, "Other than taking Yehua's life, there is one more thing." "Your Majesty, you must be referring to Supreme," said Jackdaw. "That's right, this emperor wants you to snatch Supreme back." Jackdaw was silent for a moment, then said softly, "Then I suppose I've repaid my debt to His Majesty." Huang Feidy suddenly chuckled, "As long as I complete these two tasks, I will have repaid this debt of gratitude." "Thank you, Your Majesty." "Your Majesty, I will go and prepare now." "All right." Jackdaw sounded happy, as if it could finally live a free life. At this moment, Shan Junren didn't leave. It seemed like he had something to say, but he wanted the emperor's permission. After a long time, Huang Feidy nodded his head. Only then did Shan Jun dare to speak. "Your Majesty, Jackdaw is very useful. Why did you just let it go?" Shan Junren didn't understand. These two matters were indeed important, but Jackdaw was a supreme. He was also very useful. "Who said I'm going to release him?" Huang Feidy said in a low voice. Back then, Jackdaw used the supreme technique to break through to the supreme level, and that supreme technique belonged to me. That was the truth. Back then, Huang Feidy wasn't the emperor, but he was Jackdaw's good brother. However, in the face of Supreme's temptation, Jackdaw still snatched it first. Jackdaw felt guilty, so he agreed to help Huang Feidy seize the throne. He would even listen to Huang Feidy's orders. This could be considered a form of compensation. But as time passed, Jackdaw, a supreme, wanted to break free from this shackle. However, as a supreme, he naturally had to acknowledge his words. That was why Jackdaw used this opportunity to say that they were even. "Back then, I stole your supreme. This time, I'll help you steal it. It's fair." Very few people knew about this matter, and only Shan Junren knew about it. Back then, Shan Junren could be considered as Huang Feidy's advisor. For Huang Feidy to be able to sit on the throne, Shan Junren's contributions weren't small. After all, a newly ascended emperor had to have some talented people by his side. Otherwise, how could he have obtained the throne? Hearing the emperor's words, Shan Junren understood. Accompanying a ruler was like accompanying a tiger. Only by following orders could one live. "Your Majesty, the Crown Prince's actions today seem to be to rope Yi Hua in." Shan Junren still wanted to ask the emperor about his decision. Huang Feidy let out a sigh of relief. The struggle for the Crown Prince position has always been cruel. Back then, wasn't it the same for us? Right now, the only one who can compete with Huang Yun is Huang Li. I don't have any hopes for anyone else. Shan Junren felt helpless. The emperor's sons didn't have any great ambitions. It was as if they only wanted to protect their own fields and live out their days. Only Huang Li and Huang Yun had this kind of attitude. Based on the emperor's arrangements, it seemed that the emperor was prepared to let the crown prince and the ninth prince fight it out. After all, this was also a custom. This time, the people fighting against Shanghai were a comparison. The emperor gave the ninth prince abundant resources, while the crown prince received much less. If the crown prince was a capable person, he would be able to turn defeat into victory. It seemed that the emperor was also giving the crown prince a chance. After all, under such a disadvantageous situation, the crown prince was still able to obtain good results. Based on this deduction, Shan Junren felt that the emperor might not necessarily hand over the position of the crown prince to Huang Yun. "Your Majesty, this subject still has one more thing that I want to ask." What is it?" "Your Majesty, why did you want to betroth Yi Yuanqing to my son?" Shan Junren didn't understand. This move of the emperor's is very strange. Huang Feidi said faintly, consider it as leaving a memory for Yi family. Shan Juanren's expression changed. So the emperor is planning to slaughter everyone in Yi family. However, is the emperor really keeping Yi Yuanqing alive for the sake of a memory? Shan Junren didn't know. That's right, that city extermination case, how is it going? They have been investigating it for a few years, right? Huang Feidi suddenly thought of the case from a few years ago and asked casually. Replying to Your Majesty, there is still no news from the people from the Ministry of Justice. Huang Feidi wrinkled his brows. This matter cannot be handled carelessly. After all, there was someone who dared to exterminate a city in his own territory without leaving a single person behind. Not even a corpse was left behind. This subject will supervise the matter. Go back and rest early. Perhaps, that Yi Yuanqing might not even be able to return. Shan Junren swallowed his saliva, this subject shall take his leave. After Shan Junren left, Huang Feidi didn't go to sleep. Instead, he sat in front of his study table and pondered. The candlelight shone on his face, making him appear very gloomy. On this night, Huang Feidi was actually very angry. He had only suppressed his anger until now. After a long time, Huang Feidi shouted out, Men. Sky Bearing hurriedly walked in and said respectfully, Your Majesty. Go and call a few concubines over. Sky Bearing went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, Yes. Your Majesty. Seems like this is also a kind of good job for Sky Bearing. After all, the emperor doesn't call out names sometimes. However, the right to choose is all on Sky Bearing. Sky Bearing can call whoever they want, this is too awesome. Yi Hua, who returned home, made Lu Jing feel at ease. When the other brothers found out that their big brother returned home safe and sound, they were also very astonished. Big brother was actually able to return home alive, this is simply a miracle. Therefore, Yi Hua hurriedly went to ask his father what happened and why his second sister didn't return home with him. Chapter 1009. When they heard about the banquet from their father, Yi Chen and the others were stunned. This big brother actually insulted the emperor. Moreover, it was so open and aboveboard. It's over. Yi family is finished. Big brother once again dragged Yi family into the abyss. Lu Jing also found out about the situation from her son and said helplessly, Yi Hua, if you do this, the emperor will not let our Yi family off. When the time comes, I'll take you away. Yi Hua said faintly. I don't care about this Yi family at all, because this is not my Yi family. My Yi family is a warm big family. After hearing what Yi Hua said, Lu Jing stretched out her hand and caressed Yi Hua's face. Silly child, where can we run to? Mother, we can go to Big Brother's palace. It's awesome, even more awesome than here. Yi Juetian had a look of approval on his face. The main thing is that there are a lot of beauties over at Big Brother's place. If I am able to marry one of them, wow, that would be great. Moreover, Big Brother was the boss. When the time came, he could just directly make arrangements. Lu Jing smiled helplessly. Mother is already old, you all can do whatever you all want, but Yi Hua. This time, when you all go to the front line, you all have to be careful. What happened back then might happen again. Don't worry. What happened back then will not happen again. Yi Hua said coldly. There are still a lot of things that I need to settle back then. After Lu Jing heard this, she felt slightly more at ease. Yi Juetian, who was at the side, directly said, Mother, don't worry. Big brother beating father now is like a joke. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua laughed. This brat is a bit interesting. Lu Jing glared fiercely at Yi Juetian. This child was really. Lower your voice. No matter what, he was still your father. Rest early, I will be going back to sleep first. Yi Hua stood up. Right now, he was still not willing to call mother, mainly because he was unable to say it out loud. Lu Jing also knew that Yi Hua was embarrassed and did not insist on it. One day, Yi Hua will definitely call me mother. Go back and have a good rest. Mother, I'm going to rest too. Yes. The two brothers walked out of the courtyard, and Yi Juetian asked in a low voice, Big brother. How about taking me to war? I also want to make a name for myself. Yi Juetian also rubbed his palms together. His big brother could send him to the battlefield with just a single word, and when the time came, he would be able to become famous. Yi Hua said faintly, after I leave this place, mother will need your protection. Yi Juetian immediately hammered his head. Big brother was right, he had to stay at home and take care of his mother. He couldn't let anything happen to his mother. However, Yi Hua was still not at ease. After he left, the emperor might take his mother away. Looks like I still need someone to protect my mother. This Yi Juetian's strength is still a bit lacking. After all, he can't even defeat that father of his. Does he still have the guts? In the future, I still have to train him a little more. How can my younger brother possibly be a coward? I feel that Yi Juetian's personality is very similar to Lai Gu's, but Yi Juetian's guts isn't even 1/10 as big as Lai Gu's. Big brother, sister-in-law's side, Yi Hua glared at him, and the latter shrugged his shoulders, then immediately ran into the courtyard. Yi Hua let out a breath, then slowly walked towards his courtyard. After that, he pushed open the door with both of his hands, and his brows immediately wrinkled. A hidden weapon flew over. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and grabbed, and a crystal could be seen falling onto his hand. Of course, Yi Hua knew what that was, spirit gem. Seems like, Yi Hua, do you love me? A beautiful voice rang out, and a beautiful figure appeared from the darkness. If it wasn't Qian Yuqing, who else could it be? Yi Hua silently took a look at Qian Yuqing, then placed the spirit gem on the table. Crazy. Qian Yuqing, no, you have to answer this question of mine today. Qian Yuqing grabbed onto the spirit gem and stood in front of Yi Hua. Yi Hua looked down at the woman in front of him, and Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua stubbornly. Quickly scram, don't disturb my rest. Yi Hua said lightly. Upon hearing what Yi Hua said, Qian Yuqing's tears flowed down. Yi Hua, I can tolerate your cold words, but I want to know just how you feel in your heart. There is no need for me to tell you. Yi Hua said gravely. All right. There is no need for you to tell me, right? Then why did you save me that night? And even hugged me? Qian Yuqing pointed at Yi Hua and questioned. Yi Hua sneered, I don't want to see a dead person appear in front of my palace. Is this reason enough? Hearing Yi Hua's rebuttal, Qian Yuqing suddenly laughed lightly. If that's the case, then just save me. But why did you hug me, take advantage of me, and even touch my chest? When did I touch your chest? Yi Hua casually said. After saying that, he felt that there was a problem. Qian Yuqing could be seen suddenly becoming bashful and said, Yi Hua, if you want to touch my chest, you can just tell Yuqing. It's not like Yuqing doesn't want you to touch my chest. Yi Hua, quickly scram, who wants to touch my chest? Yi Hua shouted gravely. Qian Yuqing pouted her small mouth. Yi Hua, this time, you have to be careful, they will make a move on you. I know, you don't have to worry about me. Suddenly, the room seemed to have quietened down, and the atmosphere was a bit strange. Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing called out lightly. Yi Hua didn't respond. Will you let me marry someone else? Qian Yuqing continued to ask. Yi Hua continued to not respond. After a long while, Qian Yuqing took a deep breath. I understand, you rest early, I will be going back. After finished speaking, Qian Yuqing left through the underground tunnel. When Yi Hua heard that the floor had closed up, he let out a breath of relief. Women are indeed annoying. Yi Hua's figure could be seen instantly disappearing from the room and appearing at Wushu Empire's palace. Yi Hua. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji cried out in surprise. The two wives were just discussing what Yi Hua was doing, and when he suddenly appeared, they got a fright. You haven't slept yet? Yi Hua said faintly. The women's gossipy heart immediately came. Yi Hua, what's going on? Did something happen? Quickly tell us about it. It's a long story, I still need a period of time before I come back, you two pay attention to it. I'm afraid that there will be uninvited guests coming over these few days. Uninvited guests? Yihua, you stirred up trouble the moment you went over? Qingye rubbed her forehead. My man is just a troublemaker. Yihua let out a breath of relief. It's not me who stirred up trouble, it's me who stirred up trouble in the past. I am currently taking the blame and dealing with it. Recently, I will be going to the battlefield. I have to call someone over to protect my mother. I'll go. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji immediately raised their hands, just like elementary school students. The two of you are daughters-in-law. It isn't appropriate for the two of you to go and meet with each other right now. I will have Daji go over to protect mother. Yihua had also thought for a while just now. This meeting between mother and daughters-in-law, I can't be too hasty. Daji's strength is not bad, she is courageous, meticulous, and knows how to take care of people. Chapter 10:10. Hearing that Yihua asked Daji to go over, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji knew that there was nothing for them to do anymore. You two should rest early and recover your energy. When the time comes, I will bring mother over, don't look so tired, understand? Really? Aya, we are going to sleep, we have been staying up too late recently. Baiji, do you still have any facial masks? I still have a few, how about we go and buy some tomorrow? I do need to go and buy some facial masks and skincare products, this place is very dry. Yihua was helpless, these two women suddenly started talking about cosmetics, I should just call Daji over first. However, before calling Daji over, Yihua found Wei Chang and told him a few things, then went upstairs with Daji. These few days, Daji felt as if she was suffering from depression, everything she did was boring, eating wasn't tasty anymore, sleeping was also insomnia. Only when Master is by my side can I feel at ease and have the energy to do anything, but now, Master hugged me in his embrace, wow. I am so happy, Master's embrace is so comfortable, so warm, just like last time, there is also a faint fragrance, so fragrant. Master didn't abandon Daji, no matter where I go, I will think of Daji, comfortable, we are here. Yihua said faintly. Daji went into a daze, then hurriedly left Yihua's embrace and stood at the side, not saying anything, while sizing up the house with the corner of her eyes. Daji. Daji was delighted, bringing me into the house in the middle of the night. There is even a bed at the side. Oh my god, Master finally called Daji to serve me in bed. I am so excited, so nervous, I feel like my life has reached the climax. Master is so hateful, after going around in such a big circle, he actually wants Daji to serve him in bed, and he is still so embarrassed. What is there to be embarrassed about? Daji serving him in bed is a very normal thing, this is also something within the Master's duty. Daji could be seen lowering her head slightly and starting to untie the belt of her dress with a bashful look on her face. At the same time, she also had a look of saying that Master should take pity on Daji. Daji's body is weak, if not, she won't be able to use it in the future. What are you doing? Yihua said gravely. Ah, Master. Daji went into a daze, then looked at her master with an adorable look. Why are you undressing? Master, didn't you call Daji to serve you in bed? Yihua, this Daji only thinks about serving me in bed all day long. She's even dirtier than I was back then. I'll give Daji the title of Filthy Demon King. The reason why I called you up this time is because I want to give you a mission. Yihua said faintly. When Daji heard that she was not asked to serve him in bed, her mood immediately became gloomy. Everything added up was not as important as serving him in bed. Yes, Master, Daji said dejectedly. Yihua felt that it was funny and said lightly, if you perform well, you will still have the chance to serve me in bed in the future. Really, when Daji heard what Daji said, it was as if she had been revived. I'm so happy. What Daji wants is just to serve me in bed. Yihua nodded his head. Let's give Daji an empty check first. This way, I will be more serious when doing things. The Supreme Overlord, am just too outstanding, and I still have to use this kind of method to appease my subordinates. These women, they are just lusting after my body, incredible. Seems like I have to properly protect myself when I go out. Master, tell me, what do you want Daji to do? To protect my mother. Daji's eyes were flickering. Master's mother, doesn't that mean that she will be my mother in the future? Wow, Master is actually letting me protect my own mother. From this, it can be seen just how assured he is. Master, you can be at ease. As long as Daji is here, mother will not be injured. Daji's thoughts were immediately revealed, and she immediately called Yihua mother. Yihua was helpless as he said faintly, your identity is just a maid, do you understand? Daji understands. Daji was already satisfied. You can sleep here first tonight, I will bring you over tomorrow morning. Okay, master. Daji took a look at the big bed and began frantically hinting at her master. Master, don't you want to smell the fragrance of Daji's body and also the temperature of Daji's body? It is very comfortable, master, you can sleep on the bed, Daji will go and find a cushion. Daji could be heard saying faintly. Of course. Yihua said faintly. Under Daji's help, Yihua took off his clothes, then laid on the bed and slept. Towards Daji's frantic hints, Yihua was completely unaffected. This caused Daji to even have the heart to want to die. Master's willpower is too strong, I am unable to entice him at all. I wonder how your wife managed to push Master down, she is truly too valiant. Left with no choice, Daji could only sleep on the floor and pretend to be pitiful. However, Yihua who was on the bed still did not have any reaction. Even if Daji were to sleep in a world of ice and snow, she would not catch a cold. Gradually, Yihua finally fell asleep. He thought of a lot of plans and felt that it should be very interesting. On the morning of the second day, Yihua smelled a familiar smell. This is the smell of pancakes. Opening his eyes, Yihua saw that breakfast was placed on the table, and soon after, he saw Daji walking over with a bowl of century egg and lean meat porridge. Master, wake up, Daji will go and pour some water for you. Yihua nodded his head. It must be said that Daji's service is indeed very comfortable. Forget about Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, I don't expect them to serve me either. Yihua put on his clothes, and Daji walked over while carrying a basin of water and hurriedly helped Yihua tidy up his clothes. Big brother, right at this moment, Yi Juetian suddenly walked in, and when he saw this scene, Yihua took a look at Daji and acted as if nothing had happened. Yi Juetian had seen Daji before. Upon seeing Daji, Yi Juetian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. I remember that last time when I was in the pavilion, this woman was kneeling at the side and brewing tea, and the tea was very tasty, she was mesmerized at that time. From the looks of it, she shouldn't be his big brother's woman. If only I could let big brother introduce him to me. Daji sensed Yi Juetian's gaze that was filled with ill intentions. However, in the end, Yi Juetian was her master's blood-related younger brother, and she couldn't disrespect him. Daji could only endure and not say anything. Why did you come over so early? Yihua asked faintly. Daji was currently combing Yihua's hair. Yi Juetian came back to his senses and said, Big brother, mother wants you to accompany me more. After all, you are going to leave tomorrow. Got it. I'll be there after breakfast. Yi Juetian walked towards Yihua with a smile on his face. In actuality, he just wanted to get closer to Daji. Right when I got close to Daji, I smelled a fragrant scent. Wah, so comfortable. Very soon, Yihua finished dressing up. Afterward, Yihua sat at the breakfast table, and Daji served him by the side. At this moment, Yi Juetian asked softly, Big brother. End of chapter. Chapter 10-11. I have something to discuss with you. Yi Juetian rubbed his hands together, and from time to time, he would take a look at Daji. So beautiful, so beautiful. I have already fallen in love with this girl. Yihua, who was eating the fruit Jianbing, asked faintly, Amen? Big brother, I'm not young anymore. Last time, mother even said that she needed big brother's help. Yi Juetian's smile simply became more and more despicable. Daji, who was standing behind him, wanted to slap him. Rest assured, I will help you, Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said shyly, actually, big bro, I already have someone I like. I just need big bro to do that. Looking at his own younger brother's bashful look, Yi Hua really wanted to send him flying with a slap. Where is the spirit of a man? There is still a woman who likes you when you are like this? To hell with it. What do you need big brother to do? Yi Hua asked curiously. Big brother, this lady, hee. Big brother, you understand. Yi Hua, Daji was speechless. You like Daji? Yi Hua asked confusedly. Yi Juetian nodded fiercely. That's right, I really like it. Big brother, please bestow it to me. Right now, Daji's heart was in a mess. If master were to bestow me away, then wouldn't I, master, don't be like this. Yi Hua wrinkled his brows, then asked faintly, so, you want to? Big brother, please help me. I don't even have a wife right now. Mother is still looking forward to me getting married and having children. Yi Juetian hurriedly said. As long as his big brother was willing to help, it would be fine. Yi Hua wiped his mouth, then said, how do you want me to help you? Yi Juetian was about to roll his eyes. With just a look, I can tell that she is big brother's maid. Of course she is like that, thus, Yi Juetian had a look of a big brother, you understand, on his face. If you like Daji, you can go and chase after her yourself. Yi Hua said faintly. In terms of feelings, Yi Hua felt that he was free. Daji's happiness should not be based on his own words. Yi Juetian asked softly, big brother, why did you call Daji over this time? Come and protect mother. I'm worried about you alone. I see. That's great. Yi Juetian was so excited that he almost clapped his hands. His big brother had gone to the front lines, and he was going to be alone with Daji at home. With his looks, how could he not be able to woo a little girl like Daji? Yi Hua shook his head, stood up, and prepared to let Daji meet his mother. Daji followed behind silently, looking very sad. Master actually tacitly allowed my little brother to pursue me. How can it be like this, master? You should have directly rejected him. Yi Hua also lacked consideration and didn't take care of Daji's feelings. The three arrived at Lu Jing's small courtyard. Lu Jing's complexion looked a lot better these few days. Her face was glowing red, and she was actually knitting a sweater. Yi Hua didn't expect that this kind of thing would still be popular in the gods' realm. Looking at his mother, she should be knitting sweaters for her grandchildren. However, he still had to remind his mother not to follow the standards of a child, but to follow the standards of an adult. After all, by the time Ali and the others returned, they would have already grown up. Mother. Yi Juetian happily called out. He felt that he would definitely be able to successfully woo the girl. Daji's loyalty towards Yi Hua would never change. How could it be possible for her to accept another man? That was something that did not exist in the first place. Before Yi Juetian even started, he was already destined to end up in a tragedy. Lu Jing raised her head and looked towards her two sons. However, this time, she directly looked towards Daji, who was at the back. What a beautiful lady this is. Lu Jing directly asked Daji. She was very curious about the relationship between Yi Hua and Daji. After all, Daji was standing behind Yi Hua. Could this be Yi Hua's wife? Daji's looks are indeed not bad. Yi Hua pulled Daji to the front of his mother and said, this is the new maid that I found for you. When I am not around, she will be able to protect your safety. Maid Daji. Daji bowed slightly and greeted. Lu Jing didn't expect that this Daji was actually just a maid. With such a beautiful appearance, she shouldn't just be a maid. Lu Jing didn't dare to believe it. After sizing up Daji, she doesn't look like a maid at all. Both of you, take a seat. Lu Jing said with a slight smile. Daji obediently stood at the side. She discovered that her master's mother was also very beautiful and very benevolent. This is great, little Tian, why is your face so red? Lu Jing discovered that there was a bit of a problem with her son and asked curiously. Yi Juetian was a bit embarrassed. He secretly took a glance at Daji, who was beside his mother, and then a shy look appeared on Yihua's face, causing goosebumps to appear all over Yihua's body. To actually be able to be shy to such an extent, Yihua is simply convinced. When Lu Jing saw her son acting like this, she more or less understood what he meant. This little Tian has finally grown up and knows that he likes women. Daji had a calm look on her face, not moved at all. Little Tian, you have to work hard. Lu Jing laughed lightly, expressing that she was encouraging her son. If there is a girl that you like, then go and chase after her. Yi Juetian appeared to be very embarrassed. Mother actually said it out loud, this is so embarrassing. Yihua shook his head. If you are able to chase after Daji like this, I, the Supreme Overlord, would be able to live stream myself eating sh*t, and it would be the type where my expression wouldn't even change. Yihua, you don't have to worry about mother, nothing will happen. Lu Jing knew that Yihua was worried about her safety. Last night, she had basically offended the emperor, and the emperor would definitely come and capture her to threaten Yihua. Yihua nodded his head. With Daji here, I can indeed be a lot more at ease. As for the other people from Yi family, forget about it. That's right, big brother, there is something that I need to talk to you about. What is it? This morning, I went out for a stroll and heard some very interesting things. Yi Juetian laughed. Looking at his expression, one could tell that it was definitely something good. Lu Jing smiled and said, what good thing is it? Tell mother about it. And, the things that happened at the banquet last night have all been spread out, and it is very interesting. Firstly, it is said that, the emperor broke up a meritorious minister and betrothed Xian Yuqing to his own son. It is a very disappointing move. After hearing that, Yihua laughed. Lu Jing was a bit surprised. To think that the news would spread like this. However, it is very normal for the news to spread like this, after all, that emperor was indeed doing such a thing. Then, the news of big sister-in-law being hit on the back of her hand by the 9th prince is also spreading like wildfire right now. The image of the 9th prince hitting a woman has dropped a lot in the hearts of the people. Indeed, for a man to actually go and hit a woman, this kind of man was a disgrace in the gods' realm. This is simply a shameless action, and the person that was hit was even Xian Yuqing, a super beauty. A lot of men were in a bad mood. What right do you have to hit Xian Yuqing, just because you are the 9th prince? Why don't you go and die? Damn it, Lu Jing had not heard of this matter before and cried out in surprise, what? Yuqing was hit by Huang Yun. End of this chapter. Chapter 10-12. Yihua said faintly, I merely touched it a little, and Huangli said that it was too big. Hearing Yihua's explanation, Lu Jing let out a sigh of relief. Yihua, you have to take good care of your wife. Hearing that, Yihua remained silent. Also, everyone is praising Big Brother for being loyal and righteous, taking revenge for the soldiers in the past, and praising Big Brother's great achievements. Yihua smiled bitterly and shook his head. There is also the matter of the Palace Hall murder incident. There are also various versions of it being spread out, such as Imperial Cloud killing people to silence them and so on. In any case, after the matter that happened last night, the royal family's face is about to be completely gone. Yi Juetian's saliva was bursting out from his mouth, and he felt so great that he wanted to die. Lu Jing was deeply worried. Right now, Yihua seems to have gained the upper hand, but this kind of situation is exactly the same as back then. Back then, Yihua was also like this. He was praised to the heavens by the people. Lu Jing did not want to repeat the same mistake. Mother, you can be at ease. This time, I won't be like the last time. Yihua said faintly. However, Lu Jing was stupefied. Yi Juetian was also stupefied. Yihua came back to his senses. Just a moment ago, when I casually said those words, I ended up calling out my mother. Forget it, no matter what, this is my birth mother, I have to be filial to her. Although my flesh and blood have already disappeared, but the skeleton of my body is still something that my mother gave me. Lu Jing's eyes were already red. Yi Hua is finally calling me mother. It wasn't easy. Yi Hua, be careful. Mother will wait for you to come back. Yi Hua nodded his head. In the past, that idiot Yi Hua was killed because he was useless. This time, the main body's operation will let them die clearly. However, at this moment, Huang Feidi was furious in the palace. After 1,000 years, Huang Feidi was crazily smashing things. Back then, it was also because of Yi Hua's matter that he was angered to the point that his entire body was trembling, and he could only smash things to vent his anger. Just this morning, the spies outside came to report that what happened last night had indeed spread. But why was it all directed at the royal family? That Lord Yi was actually boasted to be a god. It seemed that without Lord Yi, Lingdu would die. Yesterday night's scheme was obviously set up for Yi Hua. In the end, not only did the poop not land on Yi Hua's body, it even splattered on me. This damned Yi Hua. This emperor will despise you for life. Men. Huang Feidi shouted coldly. Sky Bearing walked in from outside. Last night, he had arranged for a few concubines to extinguish the fire for the emperor. In the end, he immediately flew into a rage. His anger flared up again. Please don't burn my head. Emperor. Go get Yi Shan. Yes. Your Majesty. Huang Feidi was enraged. This Yi Hua, this emperor will definitely grab hold of your weak spot. After a long while, Sky Bearing finally sent Yi Shan over. At this moment, Yi Shan was sweating profusely. He already knew what had happened in the morning, and he felt that the emperor would definitely be furious. But just as he finished thinking about it, someone came to make arrangements. That damnable Yi Hua. Do you really want to kill everyone in the Yi family? Yi Shan. Huang Feidi roared in anger. Yi Shan was so scared that he knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, it's not the Yi family's fault. It's all that bastard's fault. You still know that he's an unfilial son. Why don't you go and kill him? Huang Feidi shouted coldly. His Majesty. I can't win against him. Huang Feidi, you still have the cheek to say that. I was hung up and beaten by my son. If I were you, I would go and bang my head against a wall. Yi Shan was speechless after hearing what Huang Feidi said. This is so embarrassing, my face is about to be completely thrown away. After scolding a few times, Huang Feidi felt a bit better and asked gravely, Yi Shan. Where is your unfilial son staying in Kangluo continent? Ah. What ah? Do you want me to say it one more time? Did you forget that your ears are at home? Huang Feidi raised his leg and kicked Yi Shan down. Yi Shan hurriedly crawled up and said respectfully, Your Majesty, this subject really doesn't know. Are you asking me to punish him? You don't know? You are still protecting that unfilial son of yours? Huang Feidi pointed at Yi Shan and scolded. Yi Shan knew that the emperor was serious and hurriedly said, my son should know. Perhaps, they heard some rumors. All right. Someone come. Bring Yi Chen. Yi Liangkai. Yi Zhe, bring all of Yi Zhe here. Yes. Huang Feidi looked at Yi Shan and said coldly, if all of you don't know, then go back after the punishment is over. Yi Shan's face was filled with an aura of death. That damned unfilial son, if it wasn't for him coming back, how could I possibly be suffering? After a while, Yi Chen and the others were invited to the emperor's bedroom. Yi Chen and the others were stupefied. However, Yi Chen immediately knelt down and kowtowed, this commoner, Yi Chen, kowtows to your Majesty. Yi Chen didn't have a position, and it was the same for Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhe. It wasn't that they weren't qualified, rather, it was because the emperor didn't allow Yi family to become powerful again. Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhe immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Huang Feidi waved his hand, and Yi Chen and the others stood up. However, father still didn't stand up. What is going on? I have a question for all of you. Huang Feidi said gravely. Your Majesty, please ask. If this commoner knows, I will definitely tell you. Yi Chen cupped his hands and said. All right. If you two father and son don't know, then I will let you three experience the torture tools. After hearing what was said, the expressions of father and son changed. I am asking the three of you. Where does Yi Hua live in Kangluo continent? Does he have any family members? Following what the emperor said, Yi Chen and the others more or less understood what he meant. The emperor is planning to capture Big Brother's family members to threaten him. But, Your Majesty, this commoner really doesn't know. Yi Chen was very terrified. If the emperor knew about what happened in the morning, the emperor would definitely be furious. Trash. All of you are a bunch of trash. Guards. Bring all of you to the Ministry of Justice, put all of the torture tools on me before putting them back. Your Majesty. I know. Yizha hurriedly knelt down and shouted out. Sky-bearing Empire, who had just walked in, backed out again. There are some things that are better left unheard, knowing too much is not beneficial to me. Speak. Yizha swallowed his saliva. Your Majesty, I only heard a little bit of it that day. Big Brother lives in Kangluo Continent's Wushu Empire. An empire is so big. Which family is he from? Huang Feidi almost wanted to kill all of them. How can they be so stupid? Your Majesty. Big Brother is Wushu Empire's emperor. Yizha said lightly. Hearing what Yizha said, Huang Feidi went into a daze, then laughed. Soon after, Huang Feidi held onto his face and laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. Yi Hua. I didn't expect this. Huang Feidi's laughter was filled with malevolence. I didn't expect that Yi Hua would actually be an emperor in Kangluo continent. Do you really want to sit on my position that much? End of this chapter. Chapter 10-13. Good. Very good. You all can scram. Huang Feidi said coldly. Yi Shan let out a sigh of relief. Thank you, Your Majesty. The father and son quickly left the palace. They were nearly killed by Yi Hua again. Sky-bearing. Huang Feidi shouted out. Sky-bearing walked in and said respectfully, Your Majesty. Bring people to Kangluo continent. That place called Wushu Empire. Capture all of the royal family there. Then, listen to my orders. Huang Feidi wanted to keep a trump card to guard against Yi Hua. What if Jackdaw failed? For Yi Hua to return triumphantly, he had to consider all possibilities. Capturing Yi Hua's family was also a form of insurance for himself. Your subject obeys. Sky-bearing respectfully accepted the order. Capturing a person from the lower world was rather simple. After all, there weren't many supremes in the lower world. However, Sky-bearing didn't dare to be careless this time and even called a helper over. This was also a form of insurance for himself. However, what Sky-bearing didn't know was that no matter how much insurance he had, it would be useless. Because Wushu Empire's palace, that was a purgatory that appeared in the human world. Right now, the boss of the purgatory was standing beside the pond with some fodder in his hands and feeding the fishes. To be more accurate, he was thinking about things to ensure that his plan was thorough. However, just as Yi Hua was in deep thoughts, a family guard ran over and respectfully handed over a slip of paper. Yi Hua took a look at it, then kept the slip of paper. The family guard swallowed his saliva. This young master's aura is so strong. Even though he is just standing there, he gives off a feeling of might without being angry. He is even stronger than the family head. This is simply terrifying. Yi Hua opened the slip of paper in his hands and slightly frowned. A trace of a smile appeared on his face as he scattered all of the fodder in his hands and walked out of the Yi family. Somewhat interesting. Walking in front of everyone, Yi Hua could feel the admiration of the people. From time to time, he would wave his hands and shout out, Comrades, you have worked hard. When the people saw how friendly Yi Hua was, their impression of him increased. In the past, Yihua didn't even know how to act, but the current Yihua would sometimes act, just like the smile just now. In the past, Yihua was version 1.0, and the current Yihua was at least version 9.0. However, Yihua was still in the midst of upgrading. Very quickly, Yihua arrived at a Yunda society. There was an opera here, and Yihua felt that it was a bit like an opera. I never thought that there would be such an activity in the gods' realm. This is rather interesting. Everyone seemed to be listening to the play with their eyes closed, and thus, no one saw Yihua coming in. Furthermore, the lighting was a bit dim, which made it even more so. Yihua walked towards the table at the very end of the second floor and sat down. Of course, there was also a man sitting on the table. However, when Yihua sat down, the man stood up respectfully and greeted, "Prince Yi." Yihua laughed lightly, "Your Highness." "That's right, the one who invited Yihua over was Huang Li." "Prince Yi, you can just call me Huang Li." Facing Yihua, who was currently in an advantageous position, Huang Li put down his pride. "This time, if I want to win against that little brother of mine, I will definitely have to ask Yihua for help. If Yihua was unable to help me, then there would really be no hope for me. The position of the crown prince would definitely belong to Huang Yun. I can't accept this." Of course, Yihua also knew of Huang Li's motive. Therefore, the reason why he came over was because he wanted to cooperate with Huang Li. After all, it was rather interesting to see them fighting amongst themselves. However, thinking up to here, those children of mine wouldn't do this, right? If they dare to do this, I will smack their butts. Then, I won't be courteous then, Huang Li, Yihua said faintly. Huang Li was delighted. Looking at Yihua's attitude, it seems like he is preparing to form an alliance with me. Furthermore, Yihua can only form an alliance with me right now. Only by forming an alliance with me will Yihua have an advantage over me. "Prince Yi, we are going to set off tomorrow. Prince Yi, do you have any good plans?" Huang Li asked as he personally poured wine into Yihua's cup. Yihua held onto the wine cup and looked at the person who was singing the play below. "Huang Li, you should have already planned this long ago, right?" Huang Li laughed lightly, then said, "Prince Yi, it's like this. This time, there is a total of 4 million soldiers in the army. I only have 1 million soldiers, and that fellow Huang Yun has 3 million soldiers. However, Prince Yi, your younger sister still has 1 million soldiers." Huang Li naturally hoped that Prince Yi would invite Yi Yuanqing to join his side. This was the main purpose of the alliance. This way, the chances of winning would increase by quite a bit. Oh. Yuanqing still has 1 million soldiers under him? Yihua seemed to have underestimated this younger sister of his. To actually have 1 million soldiers under him, it seems like her younger sister is even more powerful than me. That's right, the main force of defending the borders is Prince Ye's younger sister. This time, father even let that fellow Huang Yun be the main general, and I am only a vice-general. I am worried that Huang Yun will let me be the cannon fodder, and in the end, he will be able to take advantage of the situation. Huang Li was extremely worried. If it was me, I would definitely let Huang Yun be the cannon fodder. It would be best if Huang Yun dies in the hands of the enemy. That way, I would be able to get rid of my competitors effortlessly. Huang Yun is the main general this time. Yihua didn't know about this, but it was within his expectations. That Huang Yun is so doted on by the emperor, it is normal for him to be the main general. That's right, father gave him the title this morning. Huang Li let out a light sigh. Speaking of morning, Huang Li suddenly said lightly, "Prince Yi, today, I saw that your father and your brothers were summoned into the palace for questioning. After that, Sky-bearing Empire left." "Just say it clearly," Yihua said faintly. "Prince Yi, I wonder if you have any family members in Kanglo continent?" Hearing what Huang Li said, Yihua knew that the emperor was trying to threaten him, that Sky-bearing Empire should be the one that sent people to capture Sky-bearing Empire, right? And that's why Prince Yi has to be careful. Don't let other people get hold of your weakness. Huang Li was still very worried about this point. If I were to screw up at a crucial moment, that would be very troublesome. Yihua nodded his head. Sending people to Wushu Empire? Ha. The emperor sure is considerate, but he is also very smart. I, the supreme overlord, still have to praise him. Of course, this kind of intelligence can only be used on ordinary opponents. If it was the supreme overlord, this kind of intelligence would just be a small bit of intelligence. To be more precise, this kind of intelligence would be like shooting a rock and smashing one's own foot. Prince Yi, this is the map of Shanghai Pass. Huang Li took out a piece of parchment, and on the parchment was the map of the borders. On the entire map, it could be seen that the entire map was filled with mountain peaks, and the mountain peaks looked as if they were rushing into the sky. However, within these huge mountain peaks, there was still a gap. It was as if this gap was specially created for the gods and demons. If there wasn't this gap, the two sides might never be able to see each other. Yihua took a look at the map. On the map, the defensive attack was in the shape of a Y. To be more precise, the terrain was in the shape of a Y, thus, there were two areas that needed to be defended at the front. This is rather troublesome. End of this chapter. Chapter 10:14. Because, as long as one side was lost, then the other side would only be a matter of time. However, there was still another line of defense at the back. Prince Yi, if my guess is correct, my 1 million soldiers and Yuan Qing's 1 million soldiers will defend the first wave. That bastard is hiding behind us and waiting for us to die. Huang Li's words caused Yihua to nod his head. Because if he was Royal Cloud, he would also arrange it like this. As long as the front line was lost, it would be game over. The enemy would assist him, and he would be an expert at killing with a borrowed knife. So, what do you want to do? Yihua asked curiously. Huang Li narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice, leave the city and fight. After Yihua heard this, he kind of wanted to praise Huang Li. This courage of his is still not bad. He actually gave up on defending the city and chose to go out of the city to fight. If he didn't have any courage, would he dare to do such a thing? However, this was the only way for them to win. Only by combining the two would they have a chance of winning. If they split up to defend, it would only be a matter of time before they lost. You want to take a gamble? Yihua said in a low voice. Yes. 2 million versus 5 million. Where does your confidence come from? Baby Tang asked curiously. Huang Li pursed his lips and gulped down the wine in the blanket. Since I'm going to die either way, I might as well take a gamble. Young man, it's still too early to talk about winning or losing. Yihua patted on Huang Li's shoulder. This young man, he just can't keep his composure. Doesn't he know that this is very dangerous? Hearing this, Huang Li's eyes lit up and he quickly asked, Lord Yi, do you have a good idea? My good ideas all come from my inspiration. I will talk about it after I go there tomorrow. Yihua said with a slight smile. The plan must be thorough, and I cannot allow any flaws to be seen through. No. My real plan is, even if you see through my plan, you still won't be able to do anything to me, and can only admit defeat. It's just like how I, the Supreme Overlord, am deceiving my wives. Right now, they still don't know about it. I'm really worried that one day, when they find out about it, they will come back and ask me for a divorce. My children are already so big, and they are still so impatient. Huang Li was a little confused. Yihua turned around and said with a smile, Don't worry, the throne is yours. Seeing that confident smile on Yihua's face, Huang Li didn't know why, but he seemed to have been influenced by Yihua's smile, and was filled with confidence towards the upcoming battle, looking at Yihua's gradually disappearing back view. Only now did Huang Li realize that Yihua was indeed very attractive. Could it be that all of the commoners in Spirit City are so supportive of Yihua? Seems like I have to learn from Yihua's style as well. It was low-key yet elegant. It looked simple, but it was quite difficult to learn. Huang Li made a few moves, but he found that he could not do it at all, so he gave up. Yi Juetian had studied for over 1,000 years, but he had not learned anything. Yi Hua, who was walking on the street once again, revealed out an amiable smile. This Yi Hua was even more attractive than the Yi Hua in the past, causing countless young ladies to be mesmerized by him. Yi Hua, I love you. Meanwhile, Yi Hua even replied to them generously, I love you guys too. K, a lot of people instantly fainted, this is too enchanting. Just like this, Yi Hua returned to Yi family amidst waves of cheers, and that amiable smile of his immediately disappeared. Speaking about acting, who is stronger than me? If you have the ability, come out and compete with me. Big brother, where did you go? Right after Yi Baizhi walked into the room, Yi Juetian could be seen running over in a panic. What's the matter? Why are you so flustered, can't you be a bit more steady? Yi Hua said with a look of lecturing. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi Baizhi was his blood-related little brother, he wouldn't have bothered to lecture Yi Baizhi. Sister-in-law is here. Yi Hua's brows wrinkled, what is she doing here? I was just looking for mother to reminisce about the old days, and in the end, I bumped into Daji. After that, I heard that Daji was brought over by Big Brother, and so they started fighting? Nope. Pulling hair? Nope. Picking toes? That's even more not the case, they were actually chatting happily. My God. How is this possible? Yi Hua, this Qian Yuqing, from the looks of it, she is trying to get some information out of Daji's mouth. Do you think that I, the Supreme Overlord, am unable to see through such thoughts? Yi Juetian mumbled, I initially thought that they would start fighting, and I even prepared to go and stop them from fighting, but in the end, they seemed like sisters who had been separated for many years. Why is this woman so strange, Big Brother, do you understand? Yi Hua said faintly, you just have to remember one point, women have long hair but short knowledge. If you don't beat them for 3 days, they will tear the tiles off the roof. So, Big Brother, do you often beat your wife? Not always. Yi Juetian, Big Brother is indeed ferocious, to even dare to beat his wife. If that's the case, father isn't too wronged. Big Brother, what are you going to do? Shouldn't you be hiding in a situation like this? Yi Juetian hurriedly chased after Yi Hua, and discovered that his big brother seemed to be going to walk right into a trap. Yi Hua snorted coldly, as a man, how can I lower my head to a woman? You have to properly learn from me, Hua, Big Brother is so awesome, seems like Big Brother is the boss at home. Nonsense. Yi Hua was a bit tsundere. Men should be the boss at home and defend the sovereignty of the family, what can women count as? When have I, the Supreme Overlord, been afraid of anything? Yi Hua and Yi Juetian arrived at their mother's courtyard, and before they even walked in, they could hear sounds of laughter. Among the sounds of laughter, there was mother's laughter, and of course, there was also Qian Yuqing's laughter. It seems like her mood isn't bad, right? When Yi Hua walked into the courtyard, the sounds of laughter immediately stopped. Because the current Yi Hua looked just like a chatter terminator. As long as he appeared, any topic of conversation would be extinguished. Qian Yuqing, who was still laughing endlessly just a moment ago, had already slightly lowered her head, looking just like a child who had done something wrong. Meanwhile, Daji, who was at the side, was the same as well. She slightly lowered her head to show respect. Lu Jing, on the other hand, didn't do anything. Looking at the two girls at the side, I really don't understand why they are so afraid of Yi Hua. Is he a demon? Why is the imperial concubine here? Yi Hua said faintly. When Yi Hua said this, Qian Yuqing's expression became as ugly as it could get, and her beautiful eyes immediately turned red. Yi Juetian, who was at the side, was stupefied. Big Brother, you are bullying people. Seems like those two sisters-in-law are being abused by Big Brother every day, so pitiful, marrying Big Brother is also a tragedy. I reckon that Big Brother is just finding pleasure from beating up women. Wah, Big Brother is so perverted. Yi Hua. What are you saying? Lu Jing definitely had to help her daughter-in-law right now, and she held on to Qian Yuqing's hand. Daji also felt that what her master said was a bit too much. After being lectured by his mother, Yihua didn't talk back and remained silent. Yuqing, Yihua is just jealous, and that's why he said that on purpose, don't take it to heart. Lu Jing consoled lightly. Look at this child, how pitiful. Just a moment ago, he was still praising Yihua, and look at how happy he was, and in the end, when Yihua came, he angered him to tears with just a single sentence. End of chapter. Chapter 10-15. Yihua said faintly, I'm not jealous. Mother. Qian Yuqing immediately shouted towards Lu Jing. That wronged look on her face made her tears fall down. Yuqing, don't cry, don't cry. Yihua, why don't you feel sorry for Yuqing? Yuqing has already sacrificed so much for you, can't you just smile for a bit? Yihua still had a deadpan look on his face, as if his computer had crashed. It was useless even if he rebooted it. Lu Jing had no choice but to hold on to Yihua. After all, her relationship with Yihua had just gotten a bit better, and she couldn't use her mother's identity to pressure Yihua. This would make Yihua feel disgusted. What Lu Jing thought was indeed the case. Yihua hated threats the most, let alone threats from his family. In Yihua's heart, he felt that only enemies would threaten him. Yihua, sit down first. Lu Jing patted the stone chair at the side. Yihua took a look at Qian Yuqing, who had her head lowered, then sat down. Yi Juetian, who was standing at the side, stared at Daji. He felt that Daji and sister-in-law's beauty was completely different. There was still a huge difference. Yihua, give me your hand. Lu Jing stretched out her hand and said. Yihua placed his left hand on his mother's hand, and then, Lu Jing placed Yihua's hand and Qian Yuqing's hand together and said, in the future, you two have to be together properly, don't fight, and give birth to a chubby boy as soon as possible, understand? Qian Yuqing hadn't touched Yihua's hand for a very long time. This temperature made Qian Yuqing feel as if she got an electric shock. Furthermore, it was super warm, and her originally cold heart instantly became warm. Thus, Qian Yuqing immediately became shy, and her head lowered even more. Yi Juetian saw this, and he felt that he should beg his mother to do the same with him. Then, wouldn't he and Daji be together naturally? Very quickly, Yihua retracted his hand, then stood up and said faintly, Mother, I will go back and pack up, we will be leaving tomorrow. After finished speaking, Yihua turned around and left. Qian Yuqing felt a wave of disappointment. How good would it be if he could continue to be like that? Yuqing, don't worry, with Mother here, Yihua won't be able to run away. Lu Jing was supporting her daughter-in-law. As for Qian Yuqing, Lu Jing was a woman that she had seen in her eyes. If Yihua didn't want Qian Yuqing, it would be Yihua's loss. Qian Yuqing's lips twitched. Mother, Yihua and the royal family have fallen out. I'm afraid that we won't be able to get the spirit spring anymore. Sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about this. Big brother said he would think of a way. That's good. Qian Yuqing was slightly relieved. If Yihua said that he can, then he will definitely be able to do it. Lu Jing patted the back of Qian Yuqing's hand and said, Yuqing, it's about time to go back. Don't let people talk behind our backs. Qian Yuqing was very depressed. She had clearly come to her husband's house, but she was still being gossiped about by others. Okay, I got it. Sister-in-law, let me see you off. Qian Yuqing nodded. The two of them walked out of the courtyard. At this time, Yi Juetian said, Sister-in-law, you have to be more ruthless. Little Tian, what's so fierce about it? Qian Yuqing asked curiously. It's that kind of fierce, pretending to be sick, looking as if he is about to die. Yi Juetian began to come up with ideas for Qian Yuqing. Qian Yuqing stopped her footsteps, seemingly thinking about Yi Juetian's idea. I feel that, it seems like, there is a bit of a chance. Last time, when I was about to die, Yihua came to save me. That day, I was in a daze and didn't notice it at all. If I pretend to be sick, and then see that Yihua is concerned about me, then I can laugh out loud and say, "You still dare to say that you don't love me, you clearly love me." Thinking about it, Qian Yuqing actually laughed foolishly. Sister-in-law? Sister-in-law? What happened to you? Don't scare me. Little Tian, you are really not bad, your brain has become smarter this time. Qian Yuqing stretched out her hand and pinched onto Yi Juetian's face, then left Yi family happily. When Yi Hua comes back from the war, I will prepare this show. Yi Hua's family is just all kinds of swindlers. If I don't have some acting skills, would really be embarrassed to say that I have lived in Yi family before. After returning to his room, Yi Hua was currently pondering. I, the army supervisor, am just an empty shell, and I am completely useless. The reason why they sent me over is because they want to get rid of me. How am I supposed to deal with their moves? This is indeed a bit difficult. The terrain at the border is truly a pit, and it has given Huang Yun a lot of convenience. If I were to make a move, it would be 5 million dregs, but what would be the consequences of that? If I am not wrong, it would be a deity who went to attack the demonic city. Wouldn't that be giving Huang Fei an advantage? I, the Supreme Overlord, even paved the way for him. You wish. I wonder how my Wushu Empire is doing right now. That Feng Tian should have arrived already, right? I wonder to what extent he will be tortured too. He will definitely be in despair. Sinful child, this emperor has ruthlessly scammed you, giving you the most difficult mission in history that has a difficulty coefficient of 10. 0, but I am guessing that right now, this child must have been shocked by my city wall. At this moment, at the entrance of Wushu Empire's city, Sky-bearing Empire brought a friend over. This friend of his was very strange. He was wearing a white headscarf that covered his head, and even his entire body was covered, and there was even a string of prayer beads on top of his head. Just by dressing up like this, it was simply too strange. Bay 1, the city wall here looks a bit strange. Sky-bearing Empire stood at the entrance of Wushu Empire's city wall and said in a low voice. Baywon raised his head and looked at the city wall, then looked at the white armored warrior beside him, then said faintly, "Not only the city wall, there is also a problem with these soldiers. Look at the sky above the city." Baywon slowly closed his eyes and placed his hands together in front of his chest. Following that, Baywon chanted an incantation. A terrifying ghost shadow actually appeared in the sky above Wushu Empire. Of course, this ghost shadow could only be seen by overlords. What is this thing? Sky-bearing Empire asked curiously. Baywon said gravely, "How many people must have died for such a terrifying soul to be formed?" Baywon, you are confusing me. Sky-bearing Empire scratched his head helplessly. This time, the reason why I called Baywon over was because I took a fancy to Baywon's strength. Baywon, this place is filled with resentment and hostility. I have never seen a city like this before. Baywon appeared to be very vigilant. After all, he knew where this place was, Prince Ye's empire. Baywon, we are only here to capture someone. After that, we will be fine. Baywon wrinkled his brows, then chanted an incantation again, and the huge soul in the sky dissipated. The two walked into Wushu Empire and couldn't help but sigh. The sanitation of this place is really good. There is actually not a single speck of dust on the road. What is that thing? End of this chapter. Chapter 10:16. Sprinklers? And what are those who wear yellow clothes and sweep the floor? The layout of this place is so strange. The streets are actually so big, but they are not crowded at all. Everything here is very strange. Those guards are not humans at all. Baywon said gravely. A man's sixth sense was telling him that this Wushu Empire was not simple. Sky-bearing did not deny it and nodded. This place is indeed strange. Look at that imperial palace. It is even more imposing than Spiritual City's imperial palace. This prince he sure knows how to enjoy life. As long as one entered the city, they would be able to see the tall imperial palace. This was also Yi Hua's initial design language. Standing at any angle in Wushu Empire, one would be able to see the towering imperial palace. Indeed, for those who came to Wushu Empire for the first time, they would all be stunned by such a scene. Even Sky Bearing and Bay One were the same. Bay One, we should hurry up and complete the mission, this is the most important thing. Bay One's gaze was filled with caution, and after a while, he could only nod his head. Sky Bearing actually called me over, and I even agreed to it. I can only brace myself and do it. After all, this is an order given by the Emperor, and disobeying the Emperor's order is no joke. Or rather, if I don't complete the Emperor's order, I will be in trouble. I hope that there are no powerful overlords in this Wushu Empire. There are no powerful overlords, there are only a bunch of underlings who kill without batting an eye. Right now, inside the Imperial Palace, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji sat on the two sides of the throne, and below them stood a bunch of underlings. Madam. The people sent by the God's realm have already entered the city. Wei Chang said respectfully. The subordinates listened quietly. This time, His Honor actually went out to play alone, and abandoned all of his underlings. Finally, it's time for something fun. Donghuang Baiji seemed to be able to sense the restlessness of these people, and she felt very helpless. Yihua's subordinates are getting better and better at playing. Wei Chang, do you have a plan? Qingye asked. Wei Chang cupped his hands and said, Madam, according to His Honor's order, we need to control these two people and wait for His Honor's order. Oh. Wei Chang, is this what Yihua told you? Donghuang Baiji asked confusedly. That's right, His Honor found subordinate and said that if there are people from the God's realm coming over, then control them. That night, Wei Chang had already received Yihua's order, and Yihua had also guessed that Huang Feidy would make a move against him. Therefore, he decided to beat him at his own game. This was also a backup plan that he could use when the time came. Qingye nodded her head, then, Wei Chang, you go and arrange this matter. Yes. However, His Honor still has an order, when the time comes, I still need your two wives to act as hostages. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji laughed bitterly. This Yihua, what kind of scheme is he starting to play again? He actually made his wife act as a hostage. Alright, all of you can disperse now. Qingye stood up and waved her hand, then returned back to the room at the back with Donghuang Baiji. Seems like Yihua is planning to let us go and meet Mother. Qingye said in a low voice. Donghuang Baiji nodded her head, that's right, we have to hurry up and take care of ourselves, don't let Yihua's mother look down on us. Indeed, I have to give Yihua's mother a good impression. Donghuang Baiji appeared very serious. To them, meeting with Yihua's mother was a very important matter. Yihua's mother was their future mother-in-law, and finally, someone who was able to take care of Yihua has arrived. In the future, if Yihua were to bully people again, I will have to directly call for Mother to save me. Meanwhile, some of the underlings who walked out of the palace started discussing. If we tease those two a little, let them have a mental breakdown. Right now, Sky-bearing Empire and Bay One had already arrived outside of the palace. There were very few people living around the palace, and the main reason was that the housing prices here were too high, and only real nouveau riche would be able to afford it. After all, it was close to the palace. The two looked at each other, then instantly disappeared from where they were and entered the palace. The black armored warrior who was standing guard at the entrance completely pretended that he did not see them. After entering the palace, the two looked left and right, and their hearts were still slightly heavy. Because we know that this is Yihua's territory, we have to be vigilant. Who knows if Yihua is plotting something or not? If there is a plot, we will have fallen for it. Suddenly, a figure slowly walked over, and Sky-bearing Empire and Bay One immediately looked over. A husky with 3 flames on its head could be seen walking over slowly, and that arrogant footstep of the husky actually showed a rhythm of not recognizing anyone. Bay One and Sky-bearing Empire felt a bit strange. What kind of dog is this? Why does it look so strange? It seems to have the attribute of being stupid. What kind of dog is this? It looks a bit like it has drunk fake wine. Sky-bearing Empire mumbled. However, they were also afraid that this husky would bark randomly. Bay One tightly wrinkled his brows as he looked at the husky. This dog actually walked over just like that, as if it treated me as air. Right at this moment, a voice sounded out. This caused Sky-bearing Empire and Bay 1 to immediately become vigilant. Two people could be seen walking over while chatting. One was wearing a red cloak, and the other was wearing a green cloak. Aren't these the Green and Red brothers? Sky-bearing Empire stared at the Green and Red brothers. Looks like we are going to fight. Bay 1 nodded his head. I didn't expect that we would be discovered the moment we entered. Sigh, I haven't been able to enjoy these days. Hong let out a heavy sigh. What is it again? It can't be because of that small matter, right? Lulu said with a light smile. Hong nodded his head. Could it be because of something else? Recently, Zishan's temper is getting bigger and bigger, to the point that she even let me sleep outside, and when she gets pregnant, I can sleep inside. Then, I have a question. Yeah, I can't even sleep in it, how can she get pregnant? Hong laughed, not even looking at the two of them. Sky-bearing and Bay 1 watched as the two of them walked past them. His head was buzzing. What was going on? Was this really a royal palace? Did I go to the wrong place? The two of you, wait. Sky-bearing Empire couldn't bear it anymore and hurriedly called out to the Green and Red brothers to stop. LV Liang and Hong stopped in their tracks and looked at the two of them in confusion. Sky-bearing Empire smiled and asked, May I ask the two of you, is this the Imperial Palace of Wushu Empire? Yeah, what about it? Hong Tian said. In fact, he was laughing to death in his heart. These two idiots were too funny. Cheng Tian and Bay 1 looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. Aren't you curious about who we are? Bay 1 could not hold it in any longer. What kind of weird empire was this? A stranger came into the palace, and they did not even bother to ask about it. LV Liang and Hong took a look at each other, then LV Liang said, who are you guys, is it related to us? Holy shit. They were actually left speechless. Where did your emperor go? Sky-bearing Empire began to inquire about the two of them. The two of them are definitely idiots. Hong clapped his hands. Our emperor. End of this chapter. Chapter 10:17. Cheng Tian and Bay 1 were waiting for Hong to speak. I don't know either. Then who are you two? Sky-bearing asked. We're just passing by. You guys are so weird. You really don't know anything. LV Liang pouted and walked away with Hong. The two of them were left dumbfounded. Looks like we can enter and leave the royal palace normally in this voidless empire. That's right. Then why did we climb over the wall? We should have just walked through the main gate. Sky-bearing let out a light laugh. They had never seen such a weird palace before. Let's go find someone. All right. Following that, Sky-bearing and Bay 1 swaggered into the palace as though they were strolling in their own backyard. At this moment, they saw two ladies leisurely walking over, causing Sky-bearing and Bay 1 to stop in their tracks. These two ladies looked incomparably beautiful, and it was highly possible that they were Prince Ye's women, the concubines of the harem. This Lord Yi really knows how to live. One of them was Zishan, and the other was Li Hun. Stop right there. Sky-bearing coldly hollered. These two ladies actually treated them as thin air. The value was unbearable. Zishan and Li Hun turned around and looked at the two of them, their eyes filled with doubt. Facing this imperial palace, Sky-bearing was filled with doubts. What's the matter, great heroes? Zishan asked with an innocent expression. Where is the empress of your imperial palace? Li Hun touched his chin and said, You mean Her Highness? She's in the main hall. Sky-bearing, this was 2F** King easy. Shouldn't you have said that we would rather die than speak? Sky-bearing, we can't stay here for long. We will leave immediately after capturing them. Sky-bearing felt that sorrowful question was right. They could only hurry up and not stroll around aimlessly. After obtaining the information, Sky-bearing and Bay 1 came to the outside of the main hall. Standing at the top of the stairs, one could actually see the scenery of the entire voidless empire. This was truly a pretty good place. The two of them looked at each other and walked into the main hall. A silhouette appeared in front of them. From her attire, it could be seen that this woman was either the Empress or the Empress. However, we walked in just like that, and no one stopped us. This palace was simply too terrifying. It was so quiet that it felt like there was a ghost inside. "Hey, who are you?" Cheng Tian shouted at the back of the figure. Qinya could be seen slowly turning around. Cheng Tian and Bei Wen were instantly shocked by Qinya's beauty. This kind of feeling was similar to the first time they saw Qian Yuqing. That kind of appearance simply had no reason to be beautiful. The woman in front of him was on the same level as Qian Yuqing. "Who are you guys?" Qinya pretended to not know anything and asked curiously. Meanwhile, Wei Chang, Lai Gu, Zhu Tian, and the others also walked out one after another. This caused Sky Bearing and Bei Wen to immediately feel pressured. The main hall was immediately filled with people. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji also appeared beside the throne. "Hurry up and pay your respects to your wife," Wei Chang said gravely. Right now, Sky Bearing and Bei Wen were unable to concentrate and think. Just what kind of place is this? Dragon's pool and tiger's den? Or is it a sheep pen? The possibility of the former is higher. Zhu Tian shouted out faintly, "Kneel." A terrifying aura immediately pressed down on Sky Bearing and Bei Wen's body, and the two of them unconsciously kneeled down. At this moment, the 4 dragons that were spiraling above Sky Bearing and Bei Wen's head roared out, then coiled around the pillar. This scene caused Sky Bearing and Bei Wen to be dumbfounded. Is this even possible? Even the Emperor didn't do something like this before, to actually seal the divine dragons on the pillar. And these people. It was just a single word, but it carried such a terrifying pressure. And there was also this dog. To actually reveal the disdain of a king as well. I, Sky Bearing, am an imperial bodyguard, yet I am being looked down upon by a dog today. To look down on myself, that means that I am looking down on the Emperor. This crime is unforgivable. You guys came from the God's realm, right? Donghuang Baiji asked faintly. Following Donghuang Baiji's voice, Sky Bearing and Bei Wen raised their heads and took a look. When did another beauty come over? F***K. So beautiful. There are too many beauties in the surroundings. End of this chapter. Chapter 10:18. Just what kind of damned place is this, also? How did she know that I came to God's realm? We are sent down by God's realm's emperor. If you are sensible, then let us go. Otherwise, all of you will die. Cheng Tian shouted out. Right now, I can only bring out my backer. This should be of some use, right? I hope so. Donghuang Baiji laughed. God's realm's emperor? What is that? He is merely someone to play with. You actually dare to be disrespectful to His Majesty. Who is this? You need to be clear of your own situation, only then will you be able to live. Look at your accomplice beside you, he is so quiet. Lai Gu said with the look of a master. None of your business. Lai Gu raised his hand and slapped Cheng Tian's face. This caused Bei Wen, who was at the side, to immediately shut his mouth. I wanted to say something just now, but it seems like there is no need for that anymore. I'm finished. These people are simply demons. No wonder so many ghosts appeared above the city when we just entered. It seems like it is them. This Princey is indeed not simple. I have to report back this kind of information. But right now, it is impossible to do so. Furthermore, their strength is so strong. Why are they hiding in Kangluo continent? There must definitely be some kind of conspiracy. Cheng Tian wanted to run, but the pressure on his back was too heavy, and he was unable to stand up at all. Baewon, who was at the side, directly gave up resisting. I knew that something would happen. I felt it when I was standing at the city gate. This Prince Yi cannot be offended. The Emperor even wanted to capture Prince Ye's people. How is it possible for him to do so? This is great. I even lost my life. I'm finished. I'm finished, just wait for His Majesty's rage. Li Gu slapped Qing Tian again, causing him to feel dizzy. If not for his honor saying that keeping him alive is useful, I would have already pinched him to death. Qing Ye and Dong Huang Baiji just sat there symbolically. Wei Chang, I will leave the two of them to you. Yes. Your wife. Qing Ye and Dong Huang Baiji disappeared from the spot. Wei Chang said faintly, disperse, there is nothing fun here. Everyone let out a sigh, feeling that the previous Yang Haotian was more fun to play with. These two were boring and instantly terrified. That Yang Haotian's strength wasn't much, but he had a fearless spirit. Everyone left one after another, and in the end, only Wei Chang, Li Gu, and Zhu Tian were left standing in the main hall. Wei Chang, just what is his honor playing up there? He didn't even bring us along to take a look. Li Gu mumbled, indicating that his honor was enjoying the food by himself and not bringing his subordinates along for fun. Wei Chang said softly, I don't know either, but one of them is enough. Absolute Heaven, on the other hand, agreed, indeed, one is enough. Two is too many. Then who are we keeping? Wei Chang looked at the sky-bearing empire and said, just leave this arrogant one. Hearing Wei Chang's words, Baewon could no longer remain calm. He had been as obedient as a baby. Why did he have to spare this arrogant fellow? I can't accept this. Why didn't you let me stay? Sorrowful question could not help but ask. You guys are too much of a bully, simply shameless. Sky-bearing frowned, Baewon, what are you saying? If we survive. At this moment, Wei Chang's right hand began to squirm. From the looks of it, it looked just like a worm. Wei Chang's entire arm could be seen transforming into a monster, and his palm transformed into a big mouth. Those sharp teeth looked extremely terrifying, and they were even drooling. Looking at this thing, Baewon's face immediately sunk, and with a trembling voice, he said, you are a Fen Sha. Wei Chang and Absolute Heaven paused for a moment. This person actually knows about Fen Sha, he seems to have some knowledge. However, Sky-bearing Empire, who was at the side, had a confused look on his face as he asked in a low voice, what is this Fen Sha? Fen Sha. I didn't expect that there would be a Fen Sha, haha. Baewon suddenly let out a desolate laughter, then closed his eyes, seemingly as though he had accepted this fate. Wei Chang naturally didn't hold back. The tentacle monster on his right hand landed on Baewon's head, then opened up its big mouth, and the mucus dripped onto Baewon's head, causing one's hair to stand on end. At the very least, Sky-bearing Empire, who was kneeling beside Baewon, felt this way. The tentacle monster was just like a snake as it swallowed Baewon's entire body, then fused into Wei Chang's body. Burp. Wei Chang let out a burp. It has been a long time since I last ate such high-grade food, and I am starting to get addicted to it. Sky-bearing Empire swallowed his saliva. These are all demons. These are all fucking demons. He even ate people. Li Gu and Zhu Tian had a helpless look on their faces. Within the entire team, only Wei Chang and Yizizi were eating humans. No. Yizizi was sucking humans, while Wei Chang was simply and crudely eating humans. Sky-bearing's next step was to lock him up and use him in the future. To Yi Hua, these weren't any dangers at all, and his guild would be able to deal with them in an instant. The dawn of the gods' realm rose once again. Today was the day Spirit Capital sent reinforcements. The entire Spirit Capital was filled with red flags, representing victory. 5 million soldiers had gathered outside the city, and a huge spell formation had already been activated. As long as the general arrived, he would be able to use the spell formation to teleport. They arrived at the front lines directly. Even if they were to go to war, they had to choose an auspicious time. This was also an ancient custom. As the army supervisor, Yi Hua was currently wearing the armor that was sent over last night. The Supreme Overlord, who had never said a vulgar word before, also wanted to say a vulgar word at this moment. If this armor is able to block a single arrow, I, the Supreme Overlord, would have eaten sh*t on a live stream. Also, why is this armor so hard to wear? If it wasn't for the fact that I have to wear it, I would have worn something else. Not only does it affect my coolness, it also affects my appearance. Especially when I wear the helmet, I look ugly to a whole new level. Big brother. Yi Juetian pushed open the door and entered. Emin? Big brother, mother came over and told me to send you off. You don't have to go and bid farewell to mother later. Yi Juetian said helplessly. Yi Hua was able to understand. All right, I understand. Tell mother that I will come back alive. Big brother, I believe in you. Mother's safety will depend on you, don't let the emperor have his way. Yi Hua said gravely. Big brother, be at ease, there is me at home. There is also Daji. Yi Juetian said happily. However, here comes the problem, Daji isn't even willing to pay attention to me, this is so boring. If Big Brother were to directly bestow it to me, that would be great. Yi Hua nodded his head, then straightened the helmet. Big Brother, you are so handsome. Hee. Yi Hua picked up the inferior sword at the side and walked out of the room. On the way out, Yi Hua only saw the servants and did not see his other brothers. As for Yi Shan, he did not appear at all. The only one who came to send Yi Hua off was Yi Juetian, his own younger brother. The horse that was waiting outside was already prepared, and Yi Hua directly rode on the horse. Let's go back. End of chapter. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.